Yo, normally I never would do this, so it's gonna look a little different, sound a little different. I'm at my house right now. I just found out the file I recorded for this intro somehow got corrupt and didn't upload in time, so either I could get this video done right now or it would take a couple days to get it to you guys early, so sorry about that. Anyway, today's special guest, Cash motherfucking Bunny. Yeah, Cash Bunny, man. Her story of how she got to where, if you don't know who she is, she's like a viral VFX artist, okay? That's what I would call her. Like the creations that she's been making. She works with 𝐅𝐎𝐻𝐋𝐋𝐖. You can hear his podcast. He was on Black Window Cream. Started following her a while back. She brought me out on a shoot with her, Jada Pinket Smith, and we shot at the MTV Music Video Awards. And I was like, you gotta get on the podcast, please. And she did it. So now we have it. And the story is crazy. Her climb to getting to where she is now is actually really wild. Mad inspirational, so I'm excited to share that with y'all. And yeah, it's a good episode. Shout out to Cash. She's got the illest fucking profile. Go look at her Instagram right now and you'll understand what I'm talking about. That's why brands keep hitting her up. Not motherfucking stop. That's why people like Will Smith shout her out on his Instagram. She's a goat. So yeah, this is gonna be a good episode. Other than that, I don't think there's anything else I should tell you guys about. The How to Charge a Client guide is available. If you don't have that yet, you should definitely cop. Shop BWNC.com. That's how you can get it. We cover everything of how to go about charging your clients and some new theories and ideas of ways that you can kind of raise the bar when you're charging your clients next. It's based on my last 10 years of experience in this shit. And I definitely learned the hard way. So I think this is a simple solve for y'all. And the reviews we've gotten have been amazing. So definitely check it out. It's only $25. It's on shopbwnc.com if you want it. Plus all the perks on our Patreon. We give a ton of bonus podcast episodes, and you get the guide when you become a Patreon member, and private Discord, all kinds of dope shit. You can get that patreon.com/blackwindowcream. My AC just turned on, so the audio probably just got even shittier. Sorry again about having to record this on my iPhone, but it's better than no podcast. So without further ado, I bring to you Cash motherfucking Bunny, right motherfucking now.
Attention.
If you stop this podcast recording at any time, you will die.
I don't want to die.
Do you want to live?
Yeah.
You have 24 hours to share this podcast with 5 people or you will die.
I'm kidding, you won't die. You're just weak shit for not sharing.
And the winner of the best motherfucking podcast goes to...
Black with no cream.
What do you think?
It's so fucking dumb and so fucking Ben Haggerty.
I knew you would say that. And we are back with another Black Window Cream podcast. New episode every single Wednesday and Sunday. I'm your host, Ben Haggerty, aka Ben Real Verse World. So am I able to say your real name?
I was actually just thinking we should have talked about that.
Mike.
Oh.
Gotta teach her how to use Mike.
Yeah, sorry. I would like to go by Cash.
I like that.
I think I'm gonna take it off the internet.
Her government name is... You're gonna take off Bunny?
No, Cash Bunny. But I'm saying I'm taking my government name. I think I'm just gonna not let anybody know it anymore.
I fuck with that. All right, Cash Bunny in the house.
Hey.
Normally behind a computer.
Yes.
Sometimes behind a camera.
Technically, I'm kind of still behind a computer.
Yeah,
so.
technically. Yeah.
So I feel comfortable.
Touche. That's dope. Your talents in production is pretty ridiculous.
Thank you.
Feed on 10.
Thank you.
Me and Dave put me onto you forever ago.
Shout out Dave.
I got re-put onto you through Ari, but I remember following you, and then he's like, oh, that's who I work with. I'm like, oh shit, now it's all starting to make sense. And then I realized like the whole squad. So we had Ari on here like, damn, that was a long time ago. That was like early, maybe the beginning of this. Damn, I don't even know when that was.
Yeah, I don't remember.
It was a while back.
It was a while back because I've been following you for a while.
We're still in the kitchen.
I found him and this whole podcast through Ari. Shout out Ari.
Yep.
His name will come up, I'm sure, a bunch of times during that.
Ari Ferro-Roy.
Ferro-Roy.
I slaughtered his name when he was on the podcast.
It wasn't too bad.
It was pretty bad. I don't know. But Ari's a beast. You two have like a very distinct style that you bring to Instagram specifically. Mm-hmm. Do you use Twitter much?
So I've been trying to more.
Content-wise, or is it just more so for your like bullshit?
Kind of, yeah, just to get rid of thoughts in my brain that don't really belong on Instagram.
Right.
Just stupid shit, really.
I don't know, the way you guys attack Instagram and have your feed set up and the way you guys create loops is like so ridiculous. If you're not following her, definitely check it out, Cash Bunny. And also the name is so fire. How did you come up with the name?
Oh, good question. So back in the day, this was probably maybe 8 years ago or something, when I first started getting into like the rave scene in New York. I used to live in New York. My friends and I would always wear bunny ears, and that happened because we went to one of my first festivals, Electric Zoo, and and everyone, so it was the second time I went, and everyone wears costumes and carries around totems, and that's how they find each other.
What the
and
hell?
So, yeah, and so I was like, you know what, we should have a costume.
Right.
So I went to the Halloween store, and of course it was September, so they didn't really have a lot of stuff. So the only options were bunny ears or halos, because I just wanted to wear something that was like a little bit more festive than like a t-shirt.
Yeah.
So I was like, all right, they're both kind of lame, but like I think bunny ears is a little bit cooler than like halos. Halos are pretty bad.
Right.
So got us some bunny ears, and then we just kept, running into people, making friends at the festival, and we'd say, hey, look out for us tomorrow, we're gonna have the ears. And so, we wore it the next day, and then it just kind of became a thing where we wore it all the time whenever we would go out to parties. And I was like big in like the rave scene, the party scene in New York.
Yeah.
And we'd always wear our ears, and as soon as you walk into a club, if we're there, because it's so easy to spot. So we were wearing the ears for a really long time, and we were known as the bass bunnies.
The bass bunnies.
That was
a
our
hard
thing.
name. The bass bunnies.
We're the bass bunnies, and we love like dubstep and like lots of EDM stuff.
But wait, are you talking about you guys would just go as spectators to the music?
Yeah.
So people, it's like
chilling.
the crowd can become famous in EDM.
Absolutely.
Interesting.
I was more involved in the music scene, which I'm sure I'll get into in a little bit.
Yeah.
But basically we were known for having these bunny ears, and that was always kind of like our thing for years.
Right.
And then I was also doing video stuff, but I did some video stuff before I got into the rave scene. And then once I got into the rave scene, wasn't doing really as much video, was really just focusing on like nightlife.
Yeah.
But I needed a video name, and I was like, okay, so like Cash, Media Cash, and then Bunny. I'm already a bunny. I've been a bunny for years, and it's like Cash Money.
So hard. Everyone always thinks did you just say that the other day? He's like, Cash Money. What were you talking about? Or whatever. I was like, Cash Bunny.
Cash Bunny, and it's not Cache Bunny. Set the record straight right now. And also I love Lil Wayne. Shout out Lil Wayne, Ħilweezy.
We're doing a Cash Money doc right now with Spotify. Like a short form doc it's going to be a cool little thing.
God.
Yeah, it's dope.
Are you going to meet Lil Wayne?
No, I don't think so.
Damn.
I don't know if that's a thing right now. Are they?
I don't know.
That's split. Yeah, there's a little lawsuit thing going on.
Dang.
Yeah, it's
I'm
more
not up to date.
It's all good. But if you don't know so if you use Premiere, if you use pretty much any program, an application like that, or you have, say, Google Chrome, and people are always like, delete your cache. Mm-hmm. That's what cache is, people, and not cache, because you're a fucking nerd. So that's where that comes from. All right, so yeah, so you made a bunch of shit. You worked with I'll say it, preface it in the intro before this whole thing, but can you name off some of the more recent clients that you've had? Because you had some wild ones.
Will Smith.
Shout out.
Clear winner. Shout out Will Smith. Shout out Jazz Davis for making that whole thing possible and suggesting me or recommending me. Dang, I'm like drawing a blank. Who else? I've been doing some stuff for Virgin Voyages, which is a new cruise line like under the umbrella of Virgin. So I've been like, awesome client. They basically send me off to like go to cool destinations and just capture whatever I want. So that's a really cool one.
So sick.
Who else have I? Puma, just signed a deal with Puma. Got some HP stuff going on. I've worked with, Coachella, Red Bull.
So many people.
Bunch of stuff, yeah.
I feel like you've created kind of like you're the go-to person of like an ideal creator that these clients want just to get the most fire bite-size shit.
Bite size is like my jam,
yeah,
for sure. And like there's been a lot of offers for music videos or like kind of bigger projects, and I'm just right now I'm just saying as a blanket rule, not doing it.
Really?
I really want to focus on bite size stuff, and like I will absolutely get into music video. When I was like 16 years old, first thing I ever made was a music video. Always said I want to be a music video editor / director. That's always what I wanted, but like right now it's just not the time, and like bite size is where it's at.
But you did just do a Wiz Khalifa Carnage.
Not a music video.
It wasn't a music video.
No,
it's just like a
just social
little thing.
Mm-hmm.
That's
dope.
Yeah,
Wiz Carnage.
But it felt like a music video. Like it could have easily been a scene from a music video.
Yeah, that was like the set. The set was so cool. It's like it's actually this Instagram like museum thing. I don't know if you've seen those.
People have been talking about this shit. Where is it at?
That's
in
up
LA?
in Glendale or like Pasadena or something, and it's in a shopping mall. So it's in a shopping mall with like G-Eazy and Wiz Khalifa. Super weird. It's like literally just walking the mall, and then there's like this Instagram museum thing there, and they have these sets that are. It's made for people to go there and take Instagram pictures, which is still very weird to me.
Do people pay to get into it?
People pay.
Oh my god, man!
It's weird, right?
Yeah,
but like it's cool. I mean, it's cool.
It's dope.
The sets are really, really sick. So they had like this, room with big roses, and they have like the rainbow tunnel thing, and then the tinfoil room, and it's all perfectly lit to be photographed.
So the tinfoil room, that wasn't, you guys just went in and shot there?
Yeah,
so
we just went on, and it was great. And then we just took the 360 camera and just went to town.
It's so ridiculous.
It was dope, yeah.
How did that come to be? We'll get into all this stuff later, but.
So my roommate, her name is Rosanna. Shout out Rosanna Ziggy. She's an awesome creator. She is Carnage's main like creative director.
Oh, dope.
Yeah, and so they wanted some like video stuff around this release. I'd actually worked with, Carnage's manager Joe on Shaq's Funhouse a while back.
Okay.
And so he kind of knew me, and then like total crazy like coincidence was that he knew Rosanna and I separately, and then it turned out we were roommates, and he was
so
like,
wild.
what is going, like we like FaceTime or sent him a picture together or something, because he was talking to me about Shaq and her about Carnage at the same time. We're like, hey, we're in the same room right now. He was like, what is going on?
Yeah.
And there was actually 3 of us, because do you know Transition Ninja?
Yes.
Yes.
I don't know him, but I follow.
So he was there too, and he worked with Shaq. I was with him at Shaq's Funhouse, and it was all 3 of us in the house editing at the same time. We were like, "Hey Joe, what's up?" And he was like, "What's happening?"
Fucking or what's that movie called with Leonardo DiCaprio?
Inception.
Inception shit.
Yes.
Yeah.
It was like, it was just crazy. He was like, "What?"
So random.
Small world.
Yeah, it is small world. We were just talking about like. We did an episode the other day called The 6 Degrees of Separation. Have you heard of that whole thing?
I have.
Well, I was referencing the one that I heard about where everyone's 6 degrees everyone has 6 degrees of separation from Kevin Bacon.
Right.
Have you heard of that?
That's the classic. Yeah.
Okay, right. So we brought that up when we talked about it, but it is actually crazy how like whoever you could ever want to like work with technically or meet or whatever, like you're always just like 6 degrees away from that shit.
Or less.
Which is insane.
It's crazy.
Damn.
And it's so true, and Instagram makes that so apparent.
I know.
Or like social media, I should
Yeah,
say. Makes
it's just
it
like
so apparent.
Algorithms and shit are like suggesting things. It's like, damn, how'd they know about that?
Yeah.
It's crazy.
I just watched a movie or a Netflix thing on that.
What?
Yesterday. The Hack.
Haven't heard of it.
It's not that good.
Okay. Sorry,
but
people.
it's sorry. I don't recommend it, but it covers that.
The guy who directed it is just sitting here like sad as fuck watching this interview. Yeah, he's like, damn, I'm still gonna follow her. So it's black on a cream. You're definitely not drinking. She ain't.
Call me
drinking
out
black.
right now. I'm sorry.
Guys. It's a what
lots
is this?
of cream. Black with lots of cream.
Black with okay, cool.
So like tan.
The guy downstairs suggested that I drink this fucking coconut water because I said I was dehydrated, which is weird. I don't really drink coconut water.
How is it?
It's pretty good.
It's good?
Yeah. I would do it again, maybe. I don't know. It's interesting. I don't know anything about that shit.
I'm picky about coconut water.
Are you? Is there like different coconuts you prefer? What?
Well, no, not different coconuts, but there's different. The brand stays very different. Like
okay.
The blue one, I don't know what it's called. It's good.
I don't know anything about coconut game.
It's weird.
Word.
It's a weird taste.
So anyway, sidetracking too much.
I knew that was gonna happen.
Black Window Cream. That means I want to try to tell your story. Okay, so like, I want to know kind of when all this shit started. Early on, when you started getting creative or seeing like a form of creativity inside of you that you found interesting. Do you remember like when that first started for you? Were you playing with cameras early and
No.
I
was always much more into video editing than I ever was into cameras. Like video wise, I started when I was 16. Should we start at video? Because like before that, I was a child actor.
What?
So that goes
all the way
way back.
All right, wait. Where are you from?
Jersey.
From
Jersey.
Kids out there acting? Mm-hmm. To be in Jersey Shore someday? It's like a farm for that? They're just like getting everyone
No,
swole
the
as
farm
shit
is Staten Island for Jersey Shore.
Staten Island?
Yeah.
Oh,
That's
I
where
don't know.
they come from.
Damn.
Those aren't Jersey people. Don't judge.
I guess. I remember going to Jersey one time, or New Jersey, right?
Yeah.
Same thing.
Yeah.
And I was like, damn, this is where that show's at.
It's where the show is. And they were, I think, in Seaside, and that's where we used to go after prom and stuff. Like, that's where I had my summers. And it's very real that those people are in Jersey, but really, like, the Jersey Shore people with the accents, that's more like Staten Island.
Right.
And the tan and all that. That's kind of more Staten Island.
So funny.
But I was a little bit of that.
So you're Jersey.
Yeah.
You're in Jersey. Childhood acting. What the fuck?
Yeah, when I was like 6. So my sister, I have an older sister, Jane. Shout out Jane. She is 5 years older than me, and some of her friends in school were doing like some background, like extra work. And so she started doing it, and then I started doing it as well. And my mom would bring me to her stuff because I was just too young to be home alone or whatever.
Yeah.
So she would bring me, and then on one set, the director needed somebody. He said, "Hey, you, come over here. You're going to be the kid going to the fountain or whatever." And I liked it, and I kept doing it, and actually like had a little bit of success with it, like just for small period, but like I was on Broadway.
What?
Super random. Yeah. When I was like 7, I was on Broadway for a little bit in a Shakespearean play.
Holy shit.
I know, that's a truth bomb right there. Super random. Did like some like small parts in commercials and stuff. I was really good at voice acting. That was like kind of my bread and butter.
Voice acting?
Voice acting.
At age 7?
Yes.
What?
For like Disney and stuff like that.
Like what? Like when they're like, the rainbow or whatever, when they draw the shit with the magic wand?
Yeah, like I did like a...
or what? I don't know what they say.
A Lycos commercial. Lycos was like, I think it was like a search engine or something like that. I did a Hasbro jingle. I did like all sorts of random... like voiceover stuff. Sometimes Cirque du Soleil. Sometimes I'll go for the audition. And the crazy thing is, when you go for an audition for a voice thing, you're in a studio recording. So you read the sides, and sometimes they'll just send you a check, and they'll just use the audition. So like voice acting is the best.
Damn.
You don't have to get ready.
Right.
There's no long set to be at. You just go do an audition. Sometimes you just nail it, and then that's the end of it. So I did that for a while. And then when I was maybe 8 or 9, I told my mom I want to stop. Just want to be a little kid for a while, and she was absolutely receptive to that. Shout out, Mom. And yeah, then I stopped for a while, got back into it for like a year, and then that was it. But
that's so random.
So that was actually my first like job.
Was your sister as active?
No, she did some extra work for a while, and then I think she kind of got over it.
It was just a thing.
It was. I think it was kind of like a trend within her like scene at school,
right.
And she was kind of over it. But I didn't really continue for that long. I think when that first job that I did was probably I was 6, and by the time I was like 8 or 9, I was out. And I did dip back into it when I was maybe like 13 for a very small period of time, and then I was just over it.
Was it like actually? Do you actually like make a lot of money? It's like all the child labor laws and shit. So it's like SAG or something or whatever that rule is.
Yeah. So I was in SAG, and actually, like they do have laws where like you can't work X amount of hours per day and stuff like that. And actually, in the Broadway show, I was too young to have the role on my own, so we had to split the role. So it's 50-50. I took half the night or half the performances, and this other girl, Zena Gray, who is Alex Gray's daughter, who she like did some good acting jobs as well, she was the other half of the role, so we would share the role.
What the hell?
I know, it's really weird. And also I'm going off topic here, but just fun fact, they used to not have to have your parents there for when you were in the green room being like tutored or I was so young I don't even really know, but basically my mom and a couple of the other moms lobbied to get that law changed and actually made that law change so that the parents could always be with the kids, which obviously is the right move.
Like they were trying to, the rule before was that the parents weren't allowed there?
Right. Sometimes they would say,
weird.
No, you can't be here. And they were like, absolutely no, I'm not going to leave my 7-year-old with strangers.
Yeah, what the hell?
Yeah.
So random?
Yeah, so they like lobbied and like got it changed.
That's crazy as fuck.
I know.
That's so weird.
I know. It's like crazy to think about. I was so young. It was all, just a whirlwind.
So then, I mean, was that like were you ever watching TV and shit like at the time and seeing that and be like, oh, I want to be this person. I want to be on TV. Like I want to be.
Okay, so not necessarily. I mean, like, I guess that was kind of in my head, but it was really when I got back into it. So when I did that small little dip back in when I was like 13.
Yeah.
I did this Nickelodeon like promo thing. It was like a 1-minute like sizzle of a show that was never actually made. But when I was doing that, they let me go into the studio and see the editor.
Oh shit.
His bay and what he was doing.
That's dope.
And I walked in there. I remember feeling like, ooh, this is like a secret I'm not supposed to know.
Yeah.
You know, it felt like I was like had this inside information, and he had this big, beautiful
spaceship,
studio.
like.
Yes, it was like a spaceship, and he showed me what he was doing, and I remember just like my eyes were like huge, and I was like, oh my god, this is so cool. And I think that's kind of what got it in my head of like, that's an option.
Right.
That's somebody does that,
Yeah.
and like I kind of want to do that. And
Right.
then I realized like I kind of wanted to go to the other side of the camera.
Damn, that's crazy.
Yeah. So so fast forward.
Yeah, I was gonna say,
let's get
so
into
how-
actual video.
Yeah, well, I mean, like in between that, was it just you just got off it for a while and you were just kind of like, man, I'm just gonna grow up.
Yeah, just high school, normal
Right.
kid stuff. And then so fast forward to, I think it was about 15 or 16. I was at my aunt's house with my cousins, and my mom and my aunt literally just wanted to like have some time away from the kids, and we were super annoying and like always, bothering them. So they said, here, take this camera. She got a new camera. Go make something. leave us alone, essentially. And so I went out back with my little cousins my one little cousin, and I shot with her, just got some random clips. And the camera, and this is back in 2006. So this is like a pretty long time ago. And the camera came with this editing software called ULEAD, ULEAD, probably does not exist anymore.
Hopefully not.
It was like on a DVD with the camera.
Yeah.
And so we went and shot for, an hour or two or whatever in the backyard. And then I don't know how, and I've thought about this a lot, I have no idea how I figured out how to import the footage,
right,
set up the editing software, make an edit, add music. Like, I had no idea what I was doing, but I did it. And in a day, it was just like a quick, fun thing. And somehow I put a video together. And then, at the end of the day, we called our parents over. We're like, hey, check out our video. And like, they were crying and they were like, oh my God, this is so amazing. Like, this is beautiful. And then right after that, my mom did some research, figured out, okay, what is the editing software that she will need.
Damn.
Got me Final Cut. And I had cameras, but like, honestly, I was always kind of intimidated by cameras. I did not know how to use them. And I always, for some reason, felt more comfortable editing and more inspired editing. Right. So then for a while, so I was like 16 then that's when I really started getting into video, and I was making it a lot. And that was after that point, I think after receiving like such validation from my mom and my aunt of like how much they really loved what we made and being like, wow, I can actually do this. Like, that was my first go. Like, I could probably do better, and I want to keep doing this because obviously it's something that like people are responding to.
Yeah.
After that became like something that I identified myself with. And in school, I was like the video person, and like finally got into like a video production class. And I ended up like teaching. The teacher would tell me, you take this half, I'll take that half. And I would like teach the class.
Jesus.
And I really don't know like how I was learning so much. I think I was really just doing it a lot. And
was it Final Cut, what, 5 or?
It was Final Cut. It wasn't Pro.
Right.
It was like Light, whatever the Light one was.
Earlier, I feel like.
It wasn't early. No, it was like the like not even full version, because we couldn't afford the full version.
Yeah, it was expensive. It was like $1,200 or $1,500 or $3,000. I don't remember. It was some obnoxious amount of money.
It was a lot, yeah. And so we just got the Light one, and I was using it a lot. And of course, the computer was from 2006, so it was awful. And I had this one project. I don't know how I met these people, but I did this music video for this guy, and he like I did an effect back then. I just watched that video again, and it's again crazy looking back on it how I figured any of this stuff out. I made like like a sound wave, how it has like, if you're looking at like an old stereo and it has a bunch of boxes, and it'll go like up and down. So like a bunch of them, right? So sorry. So I made that manually, and every time that I would add one little box, it would have to render like overnight.
Oh my God.
And every time I would add one, it would get worse and worse and worse. And like, I just looked back at the video, and it looks actually, legit. Of course, that would just be a drag and drop thing easily.
That's insane.
But yeah, I was like, even back then, I was just like, I want to push whatever limit I can, and I want to do something crazy and like make it really cool.
I remember going from like, iMovie. You skipped that then.
I was never into iMovie.
You just went straight to Final Cut, which is so dope.
Yeah.
I had like iMovie and whatever, and I knew Final Cut was like the wave. And I ran into a teacher. I had like my first, like, she taught us how to do like slideshows and shit in like 6th grade. And she had it because she was like I don't know what I hope this program still exists, and I want this, because Apple had at the time like an ambassador program for teachers and would give them product to test and then review and write back and like give like their opinion. And I caught her one night when she was wasted, and she was like at a party, and I was like their driver in a golf cart.
Oh my God.
Super random. And she was coming back, and she had told me on the way into the party when she was sober, I just got this Final Cut. I'm like, oh my God, that's like a dream. And on the way back, she's like, you should take it and test it. And I like held her to it and got it, and I was like terrified jumping into it, because it was a Pro, but it was like Final Cut 7 or 5, I can't remember, but you had all the discs and like,
right,
you remember like 10 discs or something. But to learn, I'm interested to know how you, I don't know, you just said it's kind of, you don't even know how you did it, but like I remember there was a book, and I had bought, like, my dad maybe got the book somewhere, and I was like reading it. It was like literally a book tutorial.
That's right. I remember you told me that.
Yeah.
That's crazy. I definitely never saw the book.
I don't know.
That's ancient history.
Yeah. I might have it. I think I have it at my parents' house.
That would be cool to see.
It would be. I think it came with a disc, and you could like work along with the it's basically like doing online tutorials now, but I was literally reading. No one was talking to me. I don't think that shit existed. How are you learning? You don't know?
I was just practicing a lot.
Just trying things.
And like, I think, I don't know, a lot of it I think was just natural. I think that, you know, those programs are relatively user friendly. And like, you know, when I was doing earlier edits, I'm sure, of course I was doing a lot of things wrong or like the hard way or the long way. But like once I understood that there were keyboard shortcuts, and like, I think back before I was using shortcuts, I was like, thinking, well, I don't need those. Like, I get around just fine. And then I realized, oh, wow, it's so much easier, you know, just to have like these quick things. And then I got really obsessed with like learning all of them and then being as quick as I could. And like, okay, let me see how much I can just not even use the mouse. I just want to do, and like still, and when I switched over to Premiere, it was the same thing of like, let me rig these shortcuts. Let me write my own, or like, you know, enter my own, so that I can just do everything and import clips and whatever with no mouse. Right. And that was always like, it's almost like a game. It's fun to like figure it out. Right. You know, and just be like, ooh, well, what if I can figure out how to drop the clip into the timeline, but then I'll still have to click back onto the source. How do I get rid of that click onto the source? Yeah. Okay, let me add another shortcut that'll highlight the source when, you know, stuff so like that. Funny. Yeah. And it's fun. And then you could just like rock and roll and just listen to music and go crazy.
Were you, at the time, was it like your footage that you were shooting yourself, or what were you using to edit, or like what content were you editing?
Very good question. In high school, I guess I was shooting a little bit. I had a camera, but like I was never stoked on what I was shooting, nor did I ever like love shooting that much. Like it kind of felt like a chore a little bit, and like, all right, now I have to like find a location and like plan it, and like I would always feel a little bit bad like asking people to come do the thing and whatever. So once I kind of got over that aspect of it, and I'm like, you know, I don't even need to shoot. I can just get footage from the internet, and I could just be really creative with that, because then I'm not even confined to what I can shoot, when I can shoot, who I can shoot. Then I have the whole entire world. So genius. So then I started, you know, editing like movies, and that was really like the breakthrough for me, was editing old movies and recontextualizing them. And that's where that was my first big thing, and that was my first like thing that got me noticed, and that was the ultimate start of everything, was once I started doing that. And like from my point of view, because like I always identified as an editor, I didn't really call myself like a filmmaker. I'm like, yo, I'm a video editor. That is what I do. And it's kind of hard, you know, and when I would watch things, I'm like, okay, I want to edit videos. Let me watch TV or whatever, and let me be critical, and let me see what they're doing. But like, even if you're watching critically and looking for what they're doing, it's hard to know where the director ends and the editor begins, or where the, you know, visual effects or the set design or whatever. It's hard to know really who's responsible for what. And, you know, it could be, wow, this movie's amazing, but maybe the editor made really bad choices. Maybe there was a way to edit that to make it 100 times better. Right. You know what I mean? Or maybe they saved it. Maybe it was shot super really trash. Bad. Exactly. So like,
just mad common.
Oh, so common. I've done so many of those.
Fix it in post. We'll fix it in post.
Always. I've saved a lot of projects in my day. I'm sure you have too. So I always felt like, you know, I couldn't like connect with an editor as like, this is what I want to, like, this is who I want to be like, or anything like that. So then I realized, well, what if I take footage that people already know, that everyone already knows, and then I make it into something different? And that was 1,000 times more interesting to me, because like, if I can take a movie that everybody knows and I can make it into like a crazy music video and make this exact scene that you've seen 10 times feel totally different than you've ever felt watching it before, then I've done something, and then I've really actually shown how I edit things to be different stories. And like, tell stories. So the first time that I did that was to a skrilix song.
I was gonna say, I feel like, did you just post something recently that's like similar to that style? Is that, there's one of Will.
That's very much on
Will
that
Migos collab, but it's just like making it look like he rapped the Migos song.
Yes, exactly. I love doing stuff like that.
That's so fun. I die when I see that shit.
I love that. It's so fun to do. It's so rewarding, because it's like everybody can see it. That was just an interview. Right. And it was just cut to look like something else. And I love that. So the first time I did that was to a Skrillex song in, what year is it? In like 2011 probably.
Call 911 now.
No, it wasn't that. It was
That was the only Skrillex song.
It was Scada. It was kind of not one of his more popular ones, but I heard that song and I was like, oh my God, I need to make a video to this. Because we were listening to the song. It was me and some friends. And we had up on the projector, we were playing Dumbo.
Dumbo was a game?
No. We were just playing the movie.
Yeah, it's fire. My favorite.
And so it was the scene where the elephants are going crazy and it was to this crazy dubstep.
Yeah.
And I was like, I'm going to work on this tomorrow. I'm going to download this movie and I'm going to make that scene go to that because it just was working so perfectly. You know how like when you watch something, it's just everything syncs. So I was like, I'm going to do that tomorrow. So that was my plan. I downloaded Dumbo. I started cutting it together to this song, but the song's like 3 minutes. I'm like, there's really not that much amazing Dumbo footage, right? So I'm like, okay, let me add another movie in there. And then I'm like, well, that's weird. Just 2 movies. Like, it's kind of a weird thing to do. Like Dumbo and Little Mermaid. Like, it's a weird combo. It's like, maybe I'll do 3. And then I was like, 3 is kind of weird too. Maybe I need more balance. And I kept adding and adding and adding. And it ended up being like 32 movies that were in there into one. 32 like movies that you'd probably recognize. Yeah. Made into a music video that has like this like story arc and whatever. And I became absolutely consumed by this project. It was my whole life. It was all I wanted to do. That was the first time that I really felt like this is absolutely my calling and this is absolutely what I'm going to do over anything else. Like it was like not for any goal, just because I was having so much fun doing it. And so at that time I was in film school. I was going to School of Visual Arts in New York and for video editing. Yeah. That was my major. And I just really, really wanted to drop everything to do this video. And in school, they weren't really teaching me what I wanted to learn because I always wanted to do kind of more like music video type stuff. And they were much more of the write a script, make a short film, narrative route. Right. And they weren't necessarily supportive of my path and what I wanted to do, which is to me ludicrous because it's an art school and they should be open-minded about everything. Right. But I started skipping school to go to work on this project, and I was like living in like a 4-foot tall room, sitting on like this little bucket because it was so small you couldn't have a computer chair in there. So sitting on this little bucket, working on like a kid's desk, and just like hammering video clips and to dubstep and just making it as crazy as I could. It'd be like add another movie. Right. And for every movie, it's 2 more hours of footage that you got to look through and find those like tiny moments, and some of them I would get 1 second out of. But like it was just so addictive and I loved it. And so I was skipping school because the goal was I was working at Webster Hall at the time in New York. Really? At the nightclub. This was very much in the like video and nightlife phase. And so I was working at Webster Hall, and Skrillex, this was right when he was popping off. Oh shit. Like right when he started like becoming huge. And he was coming back to Webster. And we had, I think I met him the time before, briefly. But I was like, I can get to him.
What'd you do there? What was your job there?
I bartended and I also threw parties.
So
I bartended for a little while. Yeah, kind of, yeah. But then mostly I just focused on throwing parties after that. So I was like, I can get to him. I can get in the green room. He's a cool guy, whatever. And I can get to him and I can give him this video on DVD.
And you're like, and I'm the ringleader of Bunny Bass or whatever.
Bass Bunnies, exactly. Bass Bunnies. Like, come on, everyone knows the Bass Bunnies.
He'll let me talk to him.
Yeah. And I was like, I will do this. And so that was the goal. That's why I had to skip school, because there was a date.
Deadline now.
There was a deadline. And so I worked as hard as I could. I got it done. I burned it on DVD like right before I got to work. It was like last minute, doing as much as I could. Got it on DVD, and I was so nervous that I like wasn't even gonna, I was too nervous to go in the green room. I felt like such a tool walking up to Skrillex, like, hey, check out my video on DVD. Like, I felt like a tool. And my friend Eve, who was one of the Bass Bunnies, she was like, kept coming down to me, and she was another bartender, kept coming down. Did you give it to him? I'm like, no, not yet. I'm just gonna close out the bar. I'm just gonna do this. She's like, give me the DVD.
Sent it.
She walked right up there, intercepted. He was walking out of the building, and she intercepted him. She goes, Sonny, she made this video. It's awesome. It's too scata. You have to check it out. And he's so nice, and he, oh my God, yeah, I'm so excited. Puts it in his pocket, and he goes, hey, you guys want to hang out? So we hung out with him all night, had this like amazing, like just party with him. It was really, really, he's a great guy. Yeah. And the whole time my friend is like, you have to watch the video. He's like, oh, no, I don't want to watch it now. Like, I'm not in the right state of mind, like whatever. She's like, you have to watch. He never watched it. And then he left. And then we never knew if he ever watched it. We're like, man. And it was like this very unsatisfying ending.
Right.
Then he came back. And now he's like mega, right? Like next time he came to Webster.
Like months passed.
Okay. He's huge now. And he's doing Skrillex Week in New York.
Okay.
So it was like he played like 5 shows. And like...
All at Webster Hall?
No, it was
like
Webster,
a bunch
Brooklyn.
of venues. Yeah.
And we had some mutual friends. We had known him from the last time, whatever. So it was like, all right, we gotta show him this video. And so from the time before, I posted it on YouTube because I was like, whatever. He saw it or he didn't. Maybe he saw it, he didn't like it, whatever. Posted it on YouTube. I got like 40,000 views on my own, which was pretty good.
Damn, yeah.
Yeah.
What year is this? 2008?
2011 probably.
2011?
Yeah. And, posted the video, it did pretty well. And I was like, all right, like, that's cool. But still, I don't know if he's seen it.
Yeah.
And this is very, like, unsatisfied. So he comes back, and my friend TJ, Tijani, shout out to Johnny, he was, like, close with Skrillex, and he had, like, been on tour with him and stuff. And so we went to this after party, whatever. We ended up in, like, an apartment with Skrillex that had a TV. And it was like intimate enough. Storm. It was the perfect storm. And Tijani's like, yo, right now, this is the time that we're gonna do it. And I was like, oh my god, I was so I don't know why I was always so nervous, but he's like, yo, load it up in the bedroom, load it up. I'm gonna go get him. I was like, oh my god. So I bring up the YouTube, and we bring Skrillex in, and he's standing there. I'm like, okay, this is the video that I made for you. And I'm like, so nervous. My heart's like pounding. He's like standing right next to me. I'm like, all right, this is the video that I gave to you like last year, whatever it was, and I hope you like it. And it starts playing, and as soon as it starts playing, you made this? I'm like, yes, watch the video.
Yeah, watch,
like,
I know.
Put your
Focus,
eyes on the video.
right.
Yeah, you made this? He kept looking at me. I'm like, just watch the video. He watched the whole thing, loved it, brought me out in the hall, and he's like, dude, like, this is my email. Please send it to me. I'm like going to the Grammys this week, so I have, certain posts I got to do. But right after that, I'm posting this video. It's awesome.
Damn.
He won the Grammy. So he was like as hot
the
can be.
biggest moment, yeah.
It was huge. And then right after that, he posted the video.
Damn.
Blew up. And then that's what really got me noticed was that video. I quit school because of that video. Because I showed that video to my production teacher as my final project. And all the other, we had like 11 kids in our class. It was very, very intimate. And all the other kids in my class they didn't take it seriously. And they were kind of like, oh, I'm going to rent a camera from the school, and then I'll go shoot my final project in my dorm the night before,
right.
and I'll call it a rough cut. Like, they were just...
Yeah.
Bullshitting their way through.
Right.
And I was, like, so incredibly passionate. And so I tried to... I raised my hand to show my final, and my teacher was like, let us let the people who actually did their projects go first.
What?
And I was like, I can't be here anymore. I just can't. Like, that's... That kind of... So he made me show my project last, after the bell. And, like, I had to sit there and watch these kids' projects who were, like, farting around their dorms, like,
right.
oh, like, stupid that they just were shooting nothing.
So did you quit, like, immediately?
I quit. That was one of my last times at that school. I never went back. In all honesty, I probably wasted a lot of... I'm still paying for that school. I went for 2 years. I didn't really get a lot out of it. I met some connections. That was the main good thing about school.
Yeah.
And because of that Skrillex video... Then I had a reputation after that video because everyone knew that I did it, and then that made me like the go-to editor. And I was already like kind of the go-to editor in that class and at that school because I was one of the only people who my goal was to be an editor. Everyone else was like, okay, I'm editing, but like I want to be a director.
Right.
And I was the one that was like, I will edit anything because this is what I want to do and I don't want to shoot. So it was very easy for me to like be brought onto projects and like people wanted editors.
Just you do this.
Yeah, no one wanted to edit their own stuff. So it was really organic and like easy to like make connections. And so from there, I got hooked up with like a couple of people that I started working with for a while. Seth Hagenstein, shout out. He was one of the first people that really put me on in New York and like actually gave me big jobs, and, like client work, like Maybelline, and like allowed me to edit like legit the MTV. Oh my God.
What?
I feel like I'm talking a mile a minute.
I'm listening. I'm like, the MTV what?
I know. I'm like, the story just like goes on and on. Okay, so Seth brought me on for I think the first thing we did together was this MTV project. It was Artist to Watch or Artist Spotlight or something. and it was Mount Eden. There were some dubstep people, and so he was directing, and they were actually shooting it at Webster Hall. Weirdly,
What the fuck?
it was very like all just kind of happened. And he was like, yo, this is a dubstep video shot at Webster Hall. We need someone who loves editing to dubstep. Like, obviously, you're the choice for that. So I was brought on for that, and they really liked what I did. And then I started doing a couple other things for MTV. And
These are all paid as a freelancer.
absolutely, yeah.
Right.
And that was, you know, I was kind of building a good relationship with them. Everybody that worked there was amazing. I had a great time. Like, I felt that was my first like really big professional work
For MTV.
for MTV.
Yeah, which is insane.
And it was absolutely insane. So they hired me for a couple things, and about a year later, so I was still doing some random work with Seth. He was, like I said, like my main person. Shout out Seth. I don't know if I said
Yeah,
that yet.
you got the shot at it.
Okay, good, because he's very important to my career. So about a year later, after I was doing some freelance work with MTV, I think after I did that first thing, or maybe less than a year, I had no job and no money, and I was like kind of shit out of luck. And I had this like bartending background. I wasn't at Webster anymore. I had this like bartending background, and I could not get a bartending job. And I was literally just walking around the city. Like, I had printed out resumes with the little money I had, and I'm like walking around the city, going to all these stupid dive bars, like giving my resume, like just praying for a job. Didn't get calls back from any of them.
Jesus Christ.
It was bad. And then, so between interviews, bartending interviews, I was in the area near the MTV office. And I just decided to hit up Andy, who is like the producer. Shout out Andy. I'm sorry, I have to do this a lot.
You gotta do your shout outs, get yours in.
And I just hit him up because he was a producer at MTV that I really, really like hit it off with. And I was just like, hey, I'm in the area. Do you want to like, this was back when I smoked. I was like, do you want to go smoke a cigarette? You know, I'm waiting for a job. And he goes, well, I'm not at the office right now, but do you want a job at MTV? Because this other guy's quitting. I was like begging for bartending jobs in like really crappy dive bars, and like not getting them, begging for them and not getting them. And he goes, oh, do you want a job video editing at MTV full time? I was like, what just happened?
Yeah.
Like, this is insane. I was like, yeah,
Yes.
of course I do. And like 2 weeks later, that was my life. I had a full-time in-house video editing job at MTV with a beautiful office to myself, with a couch and like a proper computer and
God damn.
monitor. It was amazing.
Live life.
24-hour access. Like, it was exactly what I wanted. And the great thing about the MTV job was, I mean, obviously I worked with amazing people and it was really fun, but it was kind of like an experimental branch of MTV. It was called MTV World.
Okay.
So it wasn't like Jersey Shore and like the big shows. It was kind of, we were doing like music documentary type stuff, and like some it was world, so it was like all eclectic,
Right.
and it gave me room. It wasn't like we had like a show that we had to produce every week.
Right.
It was kind of like our
Variety.
deadlines were fluid, and like we didn't always like, we'd always like push things back, and like it gave us a lot of room to be experimental and like just have fun with it.
Yeah.
But also I could work as many hours as I wanted to. And so I think that's like where I guess I was already working a lot, but I was able to really like
Be there.
all the time.
Right.
And we would work overnights and have a blast, because we
Yeah.
would just like order food, and like we had nice speakers, and we would play music and just make like, and really talk about edits and be like, okay, what, you know, if we cut this, what does that mean? If we cut this, what does that mean? And like looking for, you know, music to support things. And it was like kind of the first time that I got to be in an environment where I could do that. And I was doing that with Seth before, but like this was the first time that I had like a steady job where I could like talk to people about editing, which is something I really wanted.
Yeah, it felt like collaborative and team effort.
And that's why I wanted to stay there. I never felt like, oh, I don't want to stay overtime. It was like, no, can I stay tonight? Like, I want to be here. And, you know, it was
you
really
guys have
fun.
nice speakers and like this couch and shit and food.
Yeah.
That's all I need.
That's all I need, honestly. And I felt really like supported there, because they were, you know, Andy was always very vocal to be, and Seth too, like they were always very vocal to be like, you, like, thank you for doing this, you are important, you're doing a great job. And like that is so important. I think especially to artists, but to anybody.
Yeah, compliments.
Like positive reinforcement is so important, like to keep doing what you're doing, especially when you're killing yourself, especially when you're working late hours. Like,
Man.
you don't want to do that if people are just like, look at your thing and then say, nope, okay, try again.
Right.
Is it nobody? Okay, I'm leaving. Like,
I
it's not
did
fun.
50 hours on this 2-minute thing or 30-second spot.
Right.
Like, what the fuck?
And you have nothing to say about it. So I like that really like made me feel just happy
Right.
and positive, and like, so I wanted more of that. So I left MTV because
What was like one of the coolest things that you did there? Like, do you remember like any of those takeaway projects? Like, what was like one of your favorite ones?
so we did this thing called Rebel Music, and it was like a documentary series on musicians around the world who use their music to rebel against their government or whatever it was, their cause.
Right.
So I was the senior editor of the Native America episode, which was huge. Like seeing my name
Flex.
under senior editor, I was just like, this can't be real.
Yeah,
Like,
so dope.
Yeah, it was insane. So that was a really, really cool one.
Damn. Sorry, I cut you off. I know.
No,
you
that's
were
totally
moving
fine.
forward.
That's totally fine. So I was only there at MTV for about 6 months.
Oh, really?
Yeah, it was 6 like solid months because
Yeah.
I was working a lot. But my boss Andy told me, "Hey, I just got word from higher up. It's not looking so good for us because MTV had changed CEOs." So he said,
Wouldn't that suck?
"Yeah,
God damn.
I mean, it ended
Not
up being
wouldn't that suck? You lived it. Like,
right.
hey.
It ended up being a good thing, but like it was just like, oh shit, like, and he said, I'm not saying this officially, but you should start looking. Get your resume together, start looking for jobs, because like this whole MTV world sect of MTV is probably going to be cut." So I spent the next like 2 days getting my resume, my reel together, and as you know, that can be like so hard to do, like gathering all your stuff, and like it can be a real pain. So like I spent like the next 2 really solid days doing that. I think it was because I forget if that happened before or after. I think it was because someone random, a Facebook friend that like I didn't even really know that well, tagged me in a post from Pasquale Rotella, who is the CEO of Insomniac.
Okay.
Insomniac, they do
Yeah.
EDC and stuff.
Yeah.
He posted, "We're now hiring for full-time video editors in LA." What? The minute I
This
lose
happens?
my MTV job, like
This
what's
other
happening?
fire job opens up.
And it was like the ultimate dream job. Like I was super into the rave scene and like actively like in that world,
And a local legend.
and a bass bunny.
Yeah, bass bunny.
Of course. And I wanted to move to LA, and I just didn't like know when it was going to happen and whatever. And then MTV was about to be done. It all just was like insanely serendipitous. And so then I buckled down for the next 2 days, got all my stuff together, submitted. And then like a couple of days later, Bunny, shout out Bunny, called me.
That's his name?
Yes.
His name is Bunny?
His name is... Tell
You're
me
like,
that's not crazy.
yes.
I was like, well, that's a sign.
Right.
This is going to happen. So Bunny calls me and say, "Hey, we just got your resume. We really like what we see, but you're not in California. We want to interview you. Are you going to be in California by any chance?" I was like, "Oh, I happen to have a trip to California in a week and a half."
You were lying?
No, I did. I was going out for Dirty Bird Campout,
The fuck is that? A festival?
a festival. And it was, I think, their first year doing it. So I already had a trip booked. And I said, yeah, I'm actually going to be there. Went, interviewed. When I went to the office, like, it was clear that I pretty much already had the job. They were just like, "So this is the office, and when can you start?" And I was like, when do you need me? They were like, 2 weeks. I was like, all right. And I moved. I figured it out, and I moved from New York to LA.
God damn.
2 weeks later. It was just like, so I asked the woman at Insomniac that told me 2 weeks. She was kind of a bitch. I shouldn't say that.
No, you can say
Hopefully
that.
she's not watching.
Who gives a fuck?
Actually,
if
I
she
don't
is?
care if she is. She
Suck
sucks.
less,
She
lady.
sucks.
Suck less.
Oh, I feel bad. Okay. Well, she told me 2 weeks. And I was like, this was right before Thanksgiving. 2 weeks is like a pretty short amount of time to tell somebody. And so I was like, can it be maybe like a month instead, maybe 4 weeks instead, so I can like do Thanksgiving with my family? And she's like, "Honey, I can't guarantee that we're not going to hire a freelancer in those extra 2 weeks that we're going to like and we're going to want to keep." I'm like, okay, so I guess I'm moving out in 2 weeks. And that was absolutely BS that she
Right.
said that, because of course it wasn't like my job was not threatened,
Right.
but she made it seem that way, so I just moved right out.
Yeah.
And that's how I got to LA.
So did you just ship your shit and fly out here?
No, I got rid of
You just
almost
got rid of
everything.
it?
Yeah, I came out with 2 suitcases.
Wow.
But I've always I didn't really have that much stuff, because in New York I would move a lot.
Right.
I would only stay at a place for maybe 6 months, and then I end up moving to a different apartment. So like I didn't really have that much important stuff.
Yeah.
It was mostly just like clothes.
Right.
And yeah, I moved out with 2 suitcases and had some friends to crash with for like the first couple weeks. Lived in a van.
Lived
for a
in
little
a
bit,
van?
a short amount for the first like week.
You moved out to LA and got a van?
Yeah, and I lied about it because I didn't want anybody taking pity on me. I was like, I'm not telling nobody. But,
what? What do you mean you lied about it? You didn't tell anyone you lived in a
I
van?
said, no, I'm not sleeping in the van.
Wait, who was,
They were like, "You're
who was
sleeping
trying
in
to
that-
confront you? Hey, are you sleeping in a van by any chance? No.
The Insomniac
Really?
co-workers knew I was living in the van. Shout out Caroline. Shout out all the Insomniac people. But Caroline was asking me, stay at my place. Don't sleep in the van. And I'm like, I'm not sleeping in the van, but I was sleeping in the van. Okay, so have you ever heard of a Juicy van? It's like Jucy, I think.
No.
They're like camper minivans.
Okay.
So the back becomes a bed.
That
and
sounds
there's
dope.
a kitchen in the trunk. It's pretty cool.
Wait, you bought this?
No, I rented it. Because we were going to that we went to a festival.
Oh, right.
Oh wait, there was another festival, but we went to a festival the first week I moved here. And so I had the van from that, and then I went back and I said, you know what, let me just keep the rental. I was just too prideful to like ask people to sleep on their couch. I didn't want to be a burden.
Yeah.
It's stupid. Like
Yeah,
I would
super
do
dumb.
that for anybody now,
Right.
and I would be pissed if they were living in their van.
Yeah.
But I just didn't want to tell anybody. And so I'd roll up to Insomniac with this ridiculous purple and green van with a big thing on top with
Yo, that
letters
is
on
funny
it
as
that says
fuck.
Juicy Van Camper, blah, blah, blah. And I would roll up to Insomniac like that, and they're like,
And just
Yeah.
leave the van for 48 hours straight because you just would leave the office and go sleep in the parking lot?
not 48 hours, but it was like a week.
Where would you drive? Where would you go park and sleep?
I would just find like a shady little street and just park in there.
Send it.
It
That's
was-
hilarious.
It was hardcore. Pasquale saw me too. The CEO, he like Insomniac invited us all out to Sound nightclub within that first like week or whatever. And I rolled up in the Juicy, and he was like laughing at me, and like Caroline was like, Pasquale wants to meet you. He wants to ask you about that van. And I was like, oh my god, this is how they know me now.
He's like, yo, what's up with her?
The girl
What
with the
fuck?
Juicy van.
Yo, that's tight as hell.
Oh my God.
No, mad respect. I fucking like
you.
sleeping in my car. I slept in my car so many times in the winter in Iowa when it was fucking negative like 20 degrees just to snowboard.
I sleep great in my car.
I like it.
Yeah, I'm fine with it.
Yeah.
So I really didn't think it was a big deal. It probably wasn't like the safest thing because people can be shady and like break in and stuff.
Especially they know, like they see a motherfucking very
Camper.
obvious looking. That's hilarious.
Yeah, but like it was pretty clutch. It's like a hotel.
Yeah.
Like you have like a nice bed and they give you blankets.
Well, shit, move into it now. Why not? Why not?
I don't know why I don't, man.
Yeah, I don't know why more people don't. Probably because it's hard to park
I
places.
was gonna say it's probably harder to park than it is to just get
Yeah.
an apartment.
God damn it, that's hilarious. So you get the job, everything starts to be going well.
Mm-hmm.
Like, what were some of the projects you were working on when you first started there?
Mostly like I would say Instagram kind of cuts of shows and like little promos. So like Insomniac is a huge brand and they have lots of festivals. So they have like the whole EDC umbrella, which is not only Vegas but Orlando and India
like
and
worldwide?
China,
Yeah,
and
worldwide, yeah.
everything, and Mexico, everything. So there was a lot to do for that. Then there was also Dream State. That's their like trance thing. Then they have audio. Audio, something that's up in San Francisco. Then they have like all of the exchange stuff. Then they have so
much shit.
So many.
How many
different-
editors did they have?
So when I was there was 2 assistant editors who would like basically manage all the files. Shout out Patrick and Anita. I'm shouting out everybody.
That's fine, do it.
They would like pull all the selects, which is a lot,
Yeah.
obvious as you can imagine.
Yeah.
And they would organize all the drives, all the footage, all the everything, which is a huge undertaking. So that was Patrick and Anita. Then there was, that's 2. Editing was Charlie. He was kind of like the editor-in-chief. Shout out Charlie. Editing, me, Brandon, Caroline, Dino. He was also doing sound design. Oh, and Brandon was also doing like kind of effects, graphics and stuff.
So it was like less than 10 people for all those festivals.
Less than 10,
That's
yeah.
fucking insane.
And then there was two, Dave and Aldo were doing like 3D stuff. So like basically like the intros and like all their 3D stuff.
God damn.
Yeah. So, but that was it. And like, we worked definitely a lot over there. But so I was just doing normal editing. This was before any effects days. I was just doing normal editing and just making cool, like very like flashy kind of like, fast cut type stuff to like high energy music, of just show footage. And,
When did you continue there for a long time, or what was it?
I was there for almost exactly a year. And
when did you get an apartment?
Like a couple weeks after I moved.
Right.
Yeah, I got it pretty quick. So I was at Insomniac a year, and I ended up leaving because it just kind of felt like it was not elevating, and like I was just doing a lot of the same stuff.
Right.
And it felt like that's what that was going to be. It felt like it was not going to move past that. And like, because like the media department there, it's not a media company.
Right.
It's a event company, and there's a media department. So there wasn't like a ton of room to like grow and like, move forward in the field. So I felt like, okay, this was pretty much as much as I can do here. And it was amazing and great while it lasted, but like, I'm ready to do something else.
Right.
So I left in like November of the following year, left for a while, and decided I'm going to travel for a little bit. So I went on a trip. I booked another festival. It's called Your Paradise Fiji. So went to Fiji, and to get to Fiji, you got to go to Australia. And to get to Australia, you got to stop, sometimes in Hawaii. So we made a whole trip out of it. So we did LA to Maui to Honolulu to Sydney to Fiji.
God damn.
So it was like 3 or 4 weeks with my friend Whitney. Shout out Whitney. And we did this whole crazy trip that ended in a music festival with Skrillex, with all these crazy like people. Jazz Davis was there. And it was really, really fun. It was like 600 person festival. So I went on this like whole big crazy trip, went back to LA. And then I think right after that is when we decided to get rid of our apartment. And I subletted for a little bit, put all my stuff in storage, and then decided I'm going to Texas for a month. Went to Texas for a month, lived with my friend Kirkland. Shout out Kirkland. And went to a festival down there. It was another Insomniac festival.
You love festivals.
I do. I was like, that's like my roots. I'm like a festival, not as much anymore, but like, that's my scene for sure. And then by the time I moved back to LA, I had a house. My friends, that's the house I'm living in now.
Oh yeah, right. The one that we were editing or dumping the footage.
Yeah. So my friends all wanted to get this big house. They arranged it while I was down in Texas. So I came back to LA, moved all my stuff out of storage, and then finally like had a house. But by that time, I was in debt.
Yeah, I bet. What the fuck?
I was traveling.
Festivals aren't even cheap by themselves.
Right.
Plus all the dope shit you guys were doing in between. God damn.
Yeah. So it was a lot. I was like pretty much broke at that point, and I needed a job. And so I had done one or two, or maybe just like one small thing for KJ Saka, who is my roommate. Shout out KJ. He's an amazing drummer, like one of the best in the world. And he was working with Wave. Have you heard of Wave?
Wave apps? What do you wait, Wave what? Is that a musician?
It's like a media platform.
I don't think
it's an app.
Okay.
And they're basically like somewhere between SoundCloud and like MTV. So they
dope.
have video content, basically supporting like smaller artists and stuff like that. So I did a job editing a drum video that KJ, who's my roommate, was doing for Wave. And so they liked what I did and then brought me on for some more stuff and then ended up offering me a job. And I was like stoked on it, but I was like, I don't want to be full-time because I just got out of this full-time job. I don't want to hop back into it, even though like it was a benefit because it was kind of more of a media company. So there was a little bit more room to like grow there. And it was the content was like a little bit more diverse, but like they were doing a lot of like interviews and like basically all different kinds of stuff. But I was like, I'm not going full-time probably ever again. Like I don't want to do it. So they let me pretty much make my own hours and make my own schedule. I said I could do like 2 to 3 days a week. And so that's what I did for a while. And I would, we would kind of come up with, I said, if you ever like really need me, absolutely I'm there. But like, I want to be flexible and I want to like really try to make freelance work.
Yeah.
So it was like the perfect stepping stone. And worked there, I think for about 6 months, kind of on and off. And somewhere within that was when Ari came into the picture. So I found Ari through his Lightning in a Bottle video.
Really?
Yes.
Wow.
Do you know that one?
Yeah. I mean, we watched all the shit.
Oh, true, true.
But how? You just tripped on it?
So my friend Anita, who was one of the assistant editors at Insomniac, she's like, she's a really, really good friend of mine. She's like, you have to see this video. And normally when people say that, I'm like, ugh,
right.
I don't know why I'm like so that way, but she's like, you have to see it. And I finally watched it and I was like, my world just shattered. I was like, who is responsible for this? Because I'd been doing festival videos for so long and I'd never seen anything like that before. Damn. So I was like, I need to know who this is. Looked up Ari, looked up all of his stuff, just binged like on his website, just going through everything, just like, this is fire, this is fire, this is fire. Yeah. Like, who is this guy? I want to work with him so bad. And this was actually before I was really active on Instagram. I was kind of a Facebook person. I feel like the East Coast is more Facebook.
Yeah, you guys are all old.
Yeah.
Right on.
So I was like much more on the Facebook tip. And I reached out to him on Facebook. I like looked him up, and which I probably wouldn't. I would have reached out on Instagram now,
right.
But I think that ended up being what got me through the rest of the people, because he was big on Instagram, but like wasn't big on Facebook.
That's so crazy.
Yeah, so I just typed in his name. He lives in LA. He's like a regular dude,
right? And
I just hit him up, and I was like, "Yo, like, I don't know what I can offer you," and I think this is kind of important as like how to approach people, because this is how I've always approached people, and it's always worked for me. If there's somebody I want to work with, I would always feel like, first and foremost, I want to offer them something. I don't want to just be like, teach me. Because there's a lot of people, I'm sure you get those messages. Teach me.
Yes.
Rude.
Talk about the shit all day on this motherfucking podcast.
Right? It's awful. So I never want to do that. And so usually when I would reach out to somebody, I would say, hey, I love your whatever it is. I'm an editor. I'll edit for you for free. If, you'll teach me whatever, right? But Ari was such a good editor, too, that I'm like, my message was, I don't know what I can offer you, but I want to work with you. What can I do? Like, I will work for free. Like, what do I have to do to work with you? And he was just like, okay, let's meet up for lunch. Let's he just wanted to like meet face to face. So we had lunch. I asked him a million questions. He was super nice. And that was it. For a long time, I didn't hear from him. And I was like, all right,
whatever.
I guess it's not going to happen.
Yeah.
Months later, probably 6 months later, he randomly reaches out and calls me. I'm like freaking. I'm like at the airport, like freaking out. Like, I gotta find service right now. Like, this is my moment, right?
It's Ari.
Yeah, it's Ari. Oh my god. And so he calls me and he's like, hey, and in the meantime, like during our first meeting, I think he said, I think his like original thing to me was, send me like 3 to 5 of your best videos that you really like.
Right.
So that he could get a sense of like what I did. So I sent him, my typical style of like very fast cutting. And during our conversation, I kind of brought up to him that like worked at Insomniac, worked at MTV, blah, blah, blah. So like 6 months later, he goes, hey, I have something finally that came up that I think you'd be good for. And it was a Hakkasan video that he was doing. He was doing like a series of like 6 residency announcement videos for Hakkasan. And so that was like nightlife, quick cut, high energy.
Your whole
like,
shit.
Yeah. He was like, okay, that's perfect, right? So he was like, okay, so I'll bring you on for the Tiesto video and you can edit that and then we'll kind of see how it goes.
Is this the one that was like, where it like announced it was like flies into every artist or whatever? Is that what it was?
That was a cut down he did of all the intros.
Okay, so then that's from these
separate
individual videos that you did. Gotcha.
Yeah. So he brought me in for the Tiesto one and he's like, okay, your direction is make it as Cash Bunny as possible. And I was like, I was like, that's awesome, but like, oh my god, very stressful, because I'm like, my style is like not necessarily what I would think of as Hakkasan. I would think of Hakkasan as like, cool, like beautiful, whatever, not as like trippy, like crazy. Right. So I was like, all right, that's his direction. Let me do it to it and like make it me and make it how I want to see it. And so I did it. I sent it to him. I was super, like, killed myself on it. Was super nervous. He loved it. Went really well. And then he was like, okay, I'll have you do the Aoki one too. And then I did the Aoki one, and that one, I think that one was like really, like the Tiesto went well, but the Aoki one was really where we were like,
oh shit,
we're working together, and like
Yeah.
this is happening. So like I would go over to his place and like show him like the edit, and we would just sit there and just nerd out on like every little cut, and like he would say, okay, I think we just have to like flip this shot horizontally because this one goes in. And I'm like, no, but if you do that, then the next shot, blah, blah, blah. And then we would keep going back and forth about our reasoning. It was just like really fun to
Right.
like nerd out and talk about all these specific things. And so the Aoki one we became a little bit obsessed with it, and it became like our baby, and we loved it. And it was such a great, it's still like one of my favorite videos. It's great. Like,
Crazy.
we had so much fun with it. And then from there, he was like, okay, now do
Jobs.
Cascade one. Now do the what I ended up doing like most of that series,
Damn.
editing most of the series, and then from there, I think it must have been the Aoki one where I was doing some effects, and I was only working in Premiere at the time. Premiere was my favorite, and I was only working in Premiere. And he was like, "Are you doing everything in Premiere?" Because I was doing like masking and stuff, and I was like, "Yeah." And he's like, "I have to teach you After Effects because
Right.
it's gonna make your life so much easier." And I kind of felt like of course stoked, but at the same time I felt like, well, he shouldn't have to do that. Like he's like very well established, and like I should be able to learn the basics on my own. And I was like, you don't have to. I can get somebody else to teach me, whatever. And he was like, no, it's fine. Like I'll teach you. Like just come over like next week or whatever, and I'll teach you.
That's why I said to you when you said, I'll teach you how to do the parallax shit, whatever. And I was like, no, that's what YouTube's for. Like,
yeah, you're
fuck
like,
it.
no, I'll learn it. I'm like, it'll take
Right.
me 2 seconds.
Yeah,
It's kind
no.
of fun, like
Yeah.
to teach people. So I was like, all right, I can't say no to this, right? So I went there. We had, I think, like 3 like lessons where I went over just specifically to learn. And I would always go with questions, which if anybody's learning, and I get obviously these questions a lot of like, you know, what's the best way to learn and stuff like that. If somebody's going to teach you, have questions, because that's the most important. To me, that is the most important thing. If you walk into a session and you're just like, okay, what do I need to know?
Right.
Like that's a lot harder because it's hard to teach.
Yeah.
Also, it's hard, like, because I've taught, like I've had, you know, people under me that I'm teaching, and it's like kind of hard to know where to start.
Right.
So like I would like mess around with After Effects, get myself into predicaments, and then write it down and say, okay, how do I move the anchor point without moving the frame?
Right.
And I didn't know that. That was one of my biggest things that
Shit drove me nuts.
that I didn't know. And it was a huge roadblock. And I'm like, well, I can't do this because I can't figure this one thing out. So I would always go to the list of questions, and then he would say, oh, okay, I got it. So he would open up a project, like an old project, and say, okay, so here's where I did that. This is how you do it. Now maybe make me do it, or make me write it down. Then he'd quiz me on it, and then
Right.
I'd, be able to do it. So I think we only had like probably 3.5 lessons formally, and then I was kind of able to learn on my own from there.
Just like nerding out on YouTube tutorials and things like that.
I'm not good at tutorials. No.
Quick fixes though, you don't go to it for anything?
I do sometimes.
Yeah.
But like I'm very impatient when it comes to tutorials. I can't like because they sit there and like they say
20-minute intros. Hey
Yeah.
guys, so recently I just got my new Tesla X and it's great, and that whole review's over. It's like, shut up,
it's
just teach me how to fucking keyframe this thing.
exactly. And it's 10 seconds of information that somebody could just say, click it there.
Right.
That's it.
Yeah.
But it takes so long to get to. So I would always be like impatient with that. Sometimes I am able to, but like I prefer to just read. You know, like Google, and then it comes up on the first answer. It's
Right.
not bullet. Like that's
Yeah.
that's what I prefer.
Yeah, that thing's clutch.
But I also have friends that I can ask about when I have certain
Right.
issues. So that's like super helpful.
So you just started picking it up really, really fast, like VFXing and being able to understand After Effects pretty well?
Yeah. Well, I already had 10 years of video under my belt.
Right.
And I was already doing effects in Premiere. So I was already masking. I already understood keyframes very, very well, like because I was doing that for so long. Even though it was Premiere, it's like same, they're the same theories.
Right.
And I also like knew Photoshop. I could get around in Photoshop. So like I kind of understood the theories, and it was just a matter of like how and where to click, and what's the terminology? Like what is a pre-comp?
Right.
Oh, it's a nest.
Right.
Click, like now I get it. If you
makes
say it in
sense.
Premiere terms, now like I
Right,
understand
right.
it. So I was able to learn quickly, but I also worked a lot. And when I was working at Wave still, This was like towards the end of working at Wave. I was going to Wave, working, 8 hours there, coming home, working another 8 to 10 hours at home on I was like doing stuff for Billy Kenny and doing stuff for just random freelance stuff.
Right.
And I'd work all night, go to bed for a little bit, and then do it all again, which that grind. Everyone knows that grind. So, I feel like I kind of fast forwarded through how long it would take anybody else to learn, because I was just working double the amount of time essentially.
Were you putting the things you were learning in After Effects into practice at your Wave job?
Absolutely.
Okay,
and
word. So you're doubling down.
They were, yes, and they were super supportive. My boss Jerry over there.
Yeah, I bet they were. They're probably damn, we did not, we didn't plan for this shit.
Right. So
hired her as an editor. Now she's a VFX artist.
Exactly. And so I started being I was. They had a lot of edits to do and they wanted me to edit, but at the same time I was I want to start doing After Effects. And so I was like, hey, what if we do learning lunches? That's what I was calling it. Learning lunches. And we have, because they had a graphics department of these two 3D / After Effects people.
Yeah.
I said, what if they teach us After Effects and we teach them Premiere? Because we both didn't know the other program. And I said, well, what if we do that in the conference room once a week? And we kind of teach each other, and then we can all learn. So we started doing that, and we would teach each other. Everyone would take a turn.
That's dope.
And teach each other, and the company would order us lunch. It was awesome.
Yeah, that's the wave.
So now I'm
that's the wave right there.
That's the wave.
Tee-hee.
I see what you did there.
Yeah.
So I was After Effectsing everywhere, just as much as I could, and just getting as much practice as I could, and making lots of mistakes, and just getting into all sorts of weird issues by just doing as much as I could. And that's the majority of how I learned. Once I knew the basics, I think it was easy
right.
to learn on top
Well, and then
of that.
it's just kind of everyone says it's the real world experience. So it's working with clients, testing out ideas, trying to make shit come to life.
Mm-hmm.
So then you and Ari continue to work together. How long were you at Wave and then you quit Wave, and did you start doing just full-time everything you could get, or was it working and helping Ari on his projects?
Hey guys, I just want to pause the episode real quick. Again, on my iPhone, sorry about that, but I just want to tell you guys about the How to Charge a Client Guide. It's the best thing we've ever put out from Black Window Cream. 54 pages. It's a goddamn Bible. If you want to learn how to charge your clients, make more money, increase your rates, the theories that we talk about in this thing are amazing, and I'm proud to put this out. Me and Dave went really, really hard on this guide. Shout out to our boy Ian for designing it, but it's available now. Shop BWNC.com. You can get it right there, or you can get it on our Patreon when you become a Patreon member, patreon.com/BlackWindowCream. So check them both out, and send us a review whenever you get a chance to read it. Let's get back to this Cash Money episode. How about that?
So it was, I think I was at Wave for probably a year. Oh, okay. So then Ari and I started working together halfway between that year.
Mm-hmm.
So then for the last 6 months of my time at Wave, I was starting to pick up definitely more freelance stuff, starting to work with Ari more, starting to cut the Wave hours a little bit here and there. And, there were some weeks where maybe I couldn't work at all. And then in April of that year, so that was right before I quit.
Right.
That was Coachella. And Ari was hired for Coachella, and he wanted to bring me on as an extra person, just under his umbrella. And he was after, he's I don't think you should go back to Wave after Coachella. I think you should tell him you're done. And I was why would I didn't feel I had enough work to sustain myself at that point. And that felt like a huge leap. That was maybe a little bit premature. And I actually got a little flustered and upset. And I think I snapped at him a little bit, because I was I don't have to quit. It's not even a full-time job. I can just keep good terms with them and still work a little bit while I'm still getting freelance. And he was just well, do what you want. That's my advice. I don't think you should go back. So I was I thought about it, and I let it sink in, because I didn't want to be rash. And I also, truly, I didn't see a point in telling them I was quitting. I wanted to keep that avenue open.
Yeah.
Because they were really flexible anyway. So I went to Coachella, and I think I might have had one more day at Wave. That was pretty
you
much
saw
it.
the whole future right there.
Right. And once I kind of heard him say that, because I was there was no specific timeline of when I was going to do that.
Yeah.
But he was he felt I was ready, and then I felt I was probably ready because of that. And then he was also I was making the point that I don't know if I'm going to have enough work. As of right now, I'm not making enough money from freelance to sustain myself. And it's really nice to have a cushion.
Yeah, hell yeah.
From Wave. That was enough definitely to pay my rent
right.
a few days a week. And so he was like, dude, I have more jobs than I can handle. Like when somebody offers me a job and I can't take it, like I can give it to you. Like there's no shortage. Like basically don't trip. It's fine. And I trusted that, and Coachella went really, really, I mean, it went well in that like we had a good time, and like it was a little bit confusing in like the direction. Like it was stressful. Yeah. But it went well, and like we worked well together, and like I felt like after that I felt more confident. And also I had one pretty big video, or like, you know, pretty good video from Coachella that I felt really confident about.
Which was?
It was like a collage that like scrolls from left to right, whereas all these different videos and pictures all put together, animated, and that like became like a pretty big, like one of my bigger posts that like got me on the map, and Coachella tagged me in it. So that was like a big thing that got me kind of like validated.
Yeah, you're like, fuck this shit, I'm out.
I was like, okay, let me like try to take this more seriously.
Yeah, damn.
Yeah.
It's crazy because I remember in Ari's story just how pinnacle the Coachella shit was for him too.
Oh yeah.
And what he invested into it, because it wasn't like, it was interesting that he said it wasn't like it was for money. He's like, any money that I got, I tried to put into my squad. Like that was it. And
absolutely,
it was just about being the person that makes that shit stand out. I mean, Coachella is one of the most socially shared, you know what I mean? All the content that comes from there is just, they just kill it, you know what I mean? And you guys are the reason behind that, and that's why it keeps happening, you know what I mean? Like, and this, the type of content that comes out of there, I think, is what spawned like the next generation of the way people are thinking, because before it's always recap videos, and then it turns into these bite-sized moments, you know what I mean? And then me and Dave's approach was like really random, and I feel like it kind of falls in line where it's like these like tiny little social clips, like with B&J's tour, is like finding those little micro moments that could stand out on their own,
that people just want to watch over and over.
Yeah, just like cool ass little moments, and the way you guys take and elevate that shit is so ridiculous. You know what I mean? Just, I don't know, the tricks and all this stuff. I remember I'm trying to figure out which one it was. I mean, obviously the hula hoop video is like fucking the one.
That's Ari though.
I know, but I remember seeing that and being like, what is this? And I didn't even know that was you. It's funny when you scroll through your feed and you see you, and you're hilarious in your fucking content, dude.
Thank you.
So what, like, you started doing that Coachella, and then what were like some of the clients you started working with after that?
Red Bull was right after that. That was one of my other biggest ones. I mean, first of all, that was a huge job to get. That was through Ari though.
Okay.
So that was still, Ari recommended me to the Red Bull team and said, hey, you should hire her for something, and specifically for EDC. Okay. Because that was after I left Insomniac, but it was like clear that EDC would be a good fit for my style. Yeah. So he told the Red Bull people, like, you should hire her for EDC. And so I went with them, and then they wanted 3 videos. And it was a little bit of a hard job for me because, like, at that point, I still wasn't, like, used to, like, a lot of restrictions from clients, like when it came to visual effects and like shooting and stuff. Yeah. Definitely with edits, I'm always very comfortable with edits, but like with that stuff, I was still kind of new to it, and like all of my normal like tendencies or whatever like weren't gonna work under that creative, because
like your go-to trick bag.
Yes, exactly. And like, because Red Bull's like, it has to be action, it has to be video, no photo, it has to be like, there was a lot of certain, and it can't show artists, it can't show, like, there was a certain direction. And so I was like, oh my, I was feeling stressed, right? So I got the first 2 videos out. They went really well.
And this is you shooting and editing?
Shooting and editing.
Okay, so you're shooting more through this shit.
Yeah. And once it was a little bit before I started working with Ari that I was shooting. It was about a year before that. Right. That I started taking that more seriously. But for the Red Bull thing, so I did the first 2 for them. They went well. And then the third one, I was like, okay, I'm really, really, I have more time on the third one because I had, it was the last one, so I had an extra day or whatever. And I wanted to make it really good. And so I was like putting all this effort into it. And it was also by far the toughest thing to shoot. I was shooting pretty much that the whole time. So all my eggs were definitely in that basket. Yeah. We shot like, I don't know, 50 people doing dances in everything in different locations. So it was a lot. And I sent it to them and they were like, wow, we've never seen such a strong third piece. I was like, bam. Yeah, they were like, usually the third one's kind of like a forgotten. I was like, oh no, the third one's always going to be best because I'm going to have more time. So that was the first video that on my page, on my Instagram, which probably had, I don't know, maybe even 1,000 at that time, followers, got 100,000 views.
God damn.
And I was like, this is insane. So that was like the first one to really pop off. And Red Bull posted it. That was a lot of followers from that. EDC actually posted it, and they normally, or Insomniac or whatever, they normally don't tag ever. They don't tag creators. This is not what they do. But Red Bull,
Swag.
yes,
Super dope,
sick.
Yeah, appreciate what you're doing for the fucking culture. Tight.
And so Red Bull homies like reached out to them and were like, yo, she needed a tag on this.
Damn.
I was like, nice.
That's tight.
They looked out. Red Bull's dope. Yeah.
But they told you that?
Yeah.
That's so cool.
Because I was like, oh wow, they're cool, and we were talking whatever. I was like, oh yeah, they tagged me. I think it was Tyler. Shout out Tyler. That was like, yeah, no, we reached out and we were like, you have to tag her.
Yeah. Damn.
And I think they did it like a week late, but so it was nice to like have that.
Right. Did that boost like your following immediately? Like you were
Huge.
seeing
Well,
it?
from Red Bull,
Yeah.
definitely. I think it was.
Red Bull has so many followers and they post the illest shit.
I know, and they always tag.
Yeah.
They're great.
That's so cool.
They're great to work with. They like just no complaints about them.
Right.
Yeah, they're great. That was a big one for sure. What was the question?
Who did you start working with after Coachella?
Oh yeah, so okay, that was Red Bull. I did Adidas again. That was through Ari.
Was that the one with the shoes that flew off her feet?
No, that was Puma. That was more
Puma.
recent.
Sorry, guys.
Adidas went to Paris for that. Again, that was through Ari. So like I had like these big clients that were all through Ari for a little while, for maybe a couple months.
So he was telling the truth.
About what?
Just his insane amount of work and how if you quit your job, you'll be good.
Exactly.
Shout out to the
Absolutely.
boy.
A shout out, big shout out. He's absolutely telling the truth, and I absolutely was getting plenty of work, maybe even more than I should have been handling.
Right.
And I think my first big job that I had on my own was Yamaha, and they hired me. They knew my roommate and hired me because he reposted my Coachella.
The drummer guy?
Yes.
Got it.
He reposted my Coachella video. No, not the drummer guy. Matt Meadow, my other roommate. He's a editor-in-chief of Your EDM.
Oh, shit.
EDM blog.
Okay.
So he knew the Yamaha guy, Will, and Will saw my video because they were friends, and Matt posted it, and then he hired me to do some stuff for their drum corps championship.
Word.
In Atlanta. So I was like flown out to do that job, which was like dope because this was my first one on my own. So flown out to do the job. They wanted 2 videos actually. I made them 3 because I was just like, I want to make more. Like,
how long are the videos? Like, are they giving like a total amount of time that they need?
I forget for that one, but I mean, typically clients are pretty chill. And
But it wasn't like short bit content. It was like, we want edits. Like, is that what you were getting hired for?
No, they were short things, but I don't think there was a specific amount of time. It wasn't like, they weren't 2-second videos.
Right.
I usually do a little bit more than that, but like, 7 or 8.
Right. It's so dope. They like,
I love it.
yeah, that's dope.
Yeah, so I did that one. That one went really well too. Brought Ryan out, film with Ryan, shout out. We shot together, and then we also edited together. Made 3 like really cool pieces from that, and then from there it was just kind of like things really started rolling.
Yeah.
After that, and I don't know. I'd have to look at my feed to
I know,
remember what
so
the
many
heck
fucking jobs
I've worked on. Yeah,
but it's all such impressive shit, and like it's
Thank you.
constant. Like you guys are always doing stuff, and what I really love is when you show. And I just told Ari this the other day. I was like, "Yo, please keep posting the behind the scenes stuff of him directing fucking Tom
know.
Brady and shit like that. So cool.
So
But
cool.
I'm like, I love when you showcase like the process of like the shoes in the bucket thing, and you know what I
Yeah.
mean? Like what? Like it's so creative. It takes me back to like it's like art and craft type style shit that you had to do early on, and now you guys are doing it again to try to elevate because no one's doing it. No one's like going out of their way like shooting shoes like that, and then trying to find ways to create it in its own space and build like a, you know what I mean? Like how important is it to you to showcase like? And I guess is your following now a majority of them are they like editors that aspire to be like you? So do you feel like you need to share like that process with them?
Definitely most of my, or I don't know about most because like after Will Smith posted,
Oh, yeah,
there
right.
was definitely a lot of followers that were just Will Smith fans, I think.
Right.
But a lot of followers and like active followers are video people, absolutely, or content creators in general, absolutely. They love seeing the behind the scenes stuff, as do I. Everybody loves that. But I feel like the issue for me is that for most of the projects that I work on, the behind the scenes like doesn't really do it. You have to see the whole edit process, and like in order to really see that, I would have to like show the screen and also narrate and also figure out how to, because I've tried and I've like started doing it and been like, okay, this is way too much work. Like to be like, okay, this is a cool thing because this footage looks nothing like the final product.
Right.
But to explain how I got there takes a really long time and is really hard to figure out how to tell that story without being completely scattered.
Yeah.
And like tutorials are a skill, and that takes
super
time.
skill. It's insane.
Yeah, you don't want to just be like, just click this. Like
Right.
you want to really tell it correctly so that people can understand it. And I don't think people fully get that. And like people are just like, why don't you do tutorials? I'm like, because I wouldn't do them poorly. I want to do them well.
Right.
And I don't have that time right now. But like that one video, the Nike video where I showed the behind the scenes, that one I did it for because it's just all you need is 2 clips. You could even do that in 2 photos. Boom. That is how we spun the shoes with this little ghetto like lazy Susan and chopsticks, which was like so fun to make and like so ridiculous. And then like a piece of fabric and a hula hoop and the camera hanging from the tripod. Like it was so ghetto and it was so fun. And the reason I showed that is because all you need to do is see those 2 things and it's, you get it.
Yeah, you get it.
And like that simplicity does not exist for a lot of the stuff I do. Because like you can see how I shot it. Like, you know, a lot of times it's just a clip. Like you can see how you shot it.
Yeah.
But like it's the whole edit process that it takes a long time to show.
Right.
So like I would like to do more behind the scenes stuff. But I guess it's just kind of like it has to be the right thing. To make it really like work.
Even the even when you posted one like from Coachella this last year, I think, and you were like, I sat here for
Lost Lands.
Yeah. Lost Lands, was that what it was?
Yeah, where I sat the video game edit
for like so long. You like, I love it, but you break it down. It's so simple. Obviously it doesn't teach you exactly how to do what you did, but just you describing exactly how it came to life. You know what I mean? It's like, God damn, she really sat there for however long and did all this shit. You know what I mean? Like you break it down. I think it makes a lot of sense to people or shows dedication to the process of what you're creating. Right.
And I just try to choose that wisely because like, you know, if I were to go through my feed and kind of like cherry pick which stories are the most interesting, like, okay, the Eiffel Tower was like a pretty big video that I had that a lot of people like, what's the word?
Shared?
Like, recognize or whatever.
Oh, right. Yeah.
A lot of people like remember, I guess. Like that is not that cool of a like I just did a hyperlapse. I took a photo,
Right.
and then I ran back to the car. Like it wasn't really that interesting, and then it was like, okay, yeah, I stabilized it. Okay, that's not that interesting. And then like I, you know, did some effect. I keyed out the sky. I don't know if anybody was confused about that. I keyed out the sky because it was perfectly blue, and I just boom, keyed it out, and then I just messed with the Eiffel Tower and like put some effects on it. But like that, I think is something that people can figure out on their own.
Right.
I don't think it's that interesting.
Needs someone to hold your hand for that shit.
Exactly. And if you don't know, if you can't possibly figure out how I did it, then there's like steps that you should take before. Like I'm not the first step, I don't think.
Right.
I don't think that I'm the page you go to if you're like, wait, how do you take a hyperlapse?
Right.
I don't want to teach people that.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So I think once people already know that and like have a base,
the more technical version comes from you.
Right. And then they can already see, okay, well, I know how she shot that. That's not a trick. I know she probably keyed out the sky. That's not a trick. So like I don't think I need to explain that specifically. But like the shoe one, I would not know how somebody did that unless I was the one doing it.
Right.
So I think that one is like more interesting.
It's so cool. Thanks. I'm like, hold on, Dave, you're using the mouse which is controlling my Mac. My computer just went. I know he's trying to shut off the buzzing sound. There's like a sound thing that you can just hit the top and it mutes that computer. My Discord be blowing up, you know. When you got into like, I mean, just this last year at Coachella, that was the first time you worked with Will, right?
Yes.
So crazy. And you told me about the story of how it came to life or whatever, and if I remember it correctly, my brain sucks, but you said that you guys like knew there might be a window that you could shoot with him, and then you thought he was leaving, I think, and then he came back.
Yeah.
Is that what it was?
Basically, so the Westbrook people, they're the people that make all the content for Will Smith and Jada and Willow and Jaden, all them. They are like a production company, and they hit me up about a separate job, and while that was like a week before Coachella, I think. And I was like, oh, hey, by the way, we're going to be at Coachella. Like, are you guys going to be there by any chance? And they were like, oh, yeah, Will's going to be there the second weekend. He would love to shoot something, like, if you're down. And I was like,
Yeah, if we're down.
Literally, of course. Like,
Yeah.
obviously. So I was like, we will make time 100%. And it was weekend 2. So it was like, weekend 1 would have been hectic.
And this is you and Ari.
Me and Ari.
Right.
But weekend 2 is like, pretty much everything's done.
Yeah.
So like, we were pretty much chilling. And we were like, absolutely, we'll be there. We met up with them at the Sahara tent. Because Jaden was performing. And so we were like, okay, the big question was, do we shoot before he goes on or after? And that was like, there was a lot of stuff to juggle. It was like, okay, well, lighting wise and shadow wise, like what's the move? What do we want to push for? But also, what is Will going to be down for? We don't know.
Right.
Also, where are we shooting? Because if we're doing like a video that's involving a lot of masking, then we need the background to stay relatively consistent, and we need the lighting to stay relatively consistent, or else we're going to have to mask literally every single thing out, and that's going to be a lot of work.
Yeah.
Because if it's staying perfectly the same, then we just do feathered masks and it'll be fine. Because we were shooting on a tripod. So it was like this big thing of like, when is it going to happen? We were trying to push for it before because we thought it might be too dark after. And then it turned out he wasn't going to do it before. So we were like, okay, well, our decision's made. That's good. So we found a spot backstage where it was like secluded. Already found that spot. Awesome. It was like secluded enough that we knew we'd be able to get what we needed. And so after Jaden performed, Sadeo, who's one of the Westbrook guys, was like, hey, so like Will's kind of tired and I don't know if he's going to be down, even though they already like, he's like, just hang tight. So we were like, we're here, like as long as you need us. So I think Will went to chill for just like a minute and then walked right over and he was ready. And he's like, he, introduced himself, super nice as you can imagine. And then like times 10, super nice guy.
Yeah.
And he's like, hey, so is it okay if Jada comes too? Can we have 2 people? We're like, yeah, okay.
Yeah, right.
And actually, I should mention that before that, we sent them a reference because they wanted to know what we were going to do so that they could show Will, and like they didn't want us just there like, what are we going to shoot?
Right.
Like, they wanted us to know and have a plan. So we actually did a test earlier that day. Ari had a test from a couple years before of a similar thing, and then we did another test with that camera at Coachella earlier in the day, and we sent them those as references. We're like, this is our idea. So it would be, Will doing this, whatever. Will really liked it. He was super down, and that's why he wanted to like push to do it. Right. Even though he was like exhausted. So
soldier. Straight soldier. Content soldier.
Yes,
content king.
Exactly. He's just down.
He's a legend.
He's like, what
now.
do we got to do to make it happen? Like, and seeing interviews with him too, like he's just down.
Yeah.
Which is like all you could ever ask for, really. So he was like, hey, can Jada come too? We were like, absolutely. So we had them both. And to answer the question about how we shot it, we basically had a 360 camera in the middle on a tripod, and then they just walked around it. We had them do all different, poses, little dances, stuff like that. And it took us 3 minutes to shoot the whole thing.
Right, in and out.
I think at first we had them go around, stand here, do a pose, move your arms, stand here, do a pose, go close to the camera, look in the camera, do a little dance, whatever. And then that was it. And we wanted to be quick because we knew that like this was, they don't want to sit here all day.
Right.
So we tried to be quick. And then as we're walking away, Ari shows Jada the reference video. And he's like, oh, I don't know if they showed you, but this is the effect that we're going to do. And she's like, she slows down and stops and she's looking at it. She's like, oh, that is so cool. She's like, wait, I want to do a cartwheel. And we're like, yeah, you could do a cartwheel. So they went back. The camera was still recording. They walked back and they did dances and they did cartwheels and they did all this stuff because they just wanted to.
Yeah. You just have to like showing the reference helps so much just to get the idea of like what's possible.
Yeah, because like until then they're blind. They don't know what they're doing and they're just like, okay, why am I dancing? Like,
maybe if they go like too far, do they think they're fucking up your edit? You know what I mean? Like they don't really understand.
Right. And like as a director, that's your job, is to guide them and tell them what you actually want.
Yeah.
And like, sometimes what it's going to look like, you don't always have that opportunity to say, here's the video, this is what it's going to look like. But if you do, you should do it. Right. Because it's really helpful.
And I love, I remember seeing him, he posted it. I'm like, oh shit. Because he like literally calls you guys out in the caption, like, yo, you two are fucking ridiculously talented. Like he says that shit on his Instagram.
Yeah. Saying these are amazing editors. Or what he said. But like getting a tag is difficult. Getting somebody as big as Will Smith to specifically say this is a good editor, like that's like doesn't happen.
That's crazy.
And like shout out to him, of course, and to his whole team for running an amazing Instagram and for like making that a place where people can find content.
Yeah, content.
I've definitely found content from there, and like you know, Jazz, Aiden, Shrimp Daddy does these like really funny edits of like, have you seen the Tatiana one?
With
where like
Will?
Will's like twerking and then he cuts out and he goes all around the world.
No.
Oh, it's really funny.
I didn't see it.
Yeah, they have
that?
great, and Dr. Fakenstein.
God, these names are so good.
I know, right?
These are such good stage names.
Dr. Fakenstein's a deep fake guy.
Oh, word.
Yeah.
I'm like, I think the way he's attacked social media, you know what I mean? Especially his longevity in this industry and like having been a legend for so long and then just like, nah, I'm not fucking with the internet. And then out of nowhere, he's like, guess what? I'm gonna fuck with the internet. And he's gonna fuck with it the hardest.
Because that's him.
The hardest. Of course he's gonna be working with you guys, which is dope. And then the way that push, you told me like it blew up your Instagram. All of a sudden you're getting hit up by companies and people nonstop wanting to hire you. And you're like, I can't even handle all this shit. What a great position to be in.
It's amazing.
Yeah.
And like that I'm super, super thankful for that. And like I'm still working with them. And like, of course I want to continue working with them, not only because, I mean, he's a nice guy, but he's just a fun subject to work with. And Ari and I just shot another thing with him.
Hell yeah.
So we're going to be doing that, probably editing soon once my computer is back.
R.I.P.
No, it's okay. Did you see my...
It survived the rodeo?
Yeah.
What was wrong with it?
They don't... So I brought it to Apple, and they said, oh, so we don't know if it's the hardware or the software, but our next step is to erase your whole drive.
No.
I was like, I saw them write in capital letters last night, do not erase this drive. They called me the next morning. Oh, yeah, so we see that you're all backed up, so we're going to erase it. I was like, no, like, you're not reading it. Anyway, so then I went in there, and they said, yeah, we don't know if it's the hardware or the software, but we're going to erase it. I was like, first of all, who says that?
Can they save it?
So I brought it to a data recovery. I don't even know if the drive might have been fine, honestly, but I didn't want to risk it.
Right.
So I just brought it. I was just like, I'm not going to try to reinstall the OS. I'm not going to do anything. I'm not going to touch it.
Yeah.
So like I brought it in. It cost me $600, but
God damn.
I know, but it was worth it because I'm not losing
projects.
It was one specific project.
Really?
That was, I spent so much time on, and it's just it was just personal. It's not a client. All my client project is on drives, but it was just a personal project. It was stupid of me not to back it up, but I had so much time sunk into it. And the problem was I couldn't just re-download the footage because it's like a million photos of this mural. Do you know Dumbfound Dead?
No.
He's a rapper, K-Town rapper. And he has a mural and it just got vandalized. And so I was like, I've been wanting to do this like specific idea with this mural forever. And so I was like, can you set up an email? He's like a friend of a friend, whatever. So I was like, set up an email or like get people to send you photos of the mural, and I'm going to put all of them together, hundreds of pictures. So there's an email set up, hundreds of emails, went through every single one of them, downloaded all the pictures.
God damn.
Stabilized it perfectly. So every picture is at a different angle. Stabilized it perfectly so the eyes, the nose, the mouth is in the exact same part of the frame for every single thing. So like you have to like puppet it and like pull the frame. You can't just like...
So that it can, are you saying so it can like fly through all the photos and it's always set in the middle? Okay.
And then it'll probably be out by the time this comes up, so I'll just tell you. But then I had him send me a clip of him saying the lyrics to a song, and then I tracked his face.
Damn.
And then made the mural move while it's flickering. So it was like a shitload of work.
Yeah,
and I was like,
that.
I am not building this again, but like I'm also not dropping it because it's really cool.
Yeah.
I don't want to like... So that was like really, I think, the main reason that I wanted it. And I'm sure there's a bunch of
Watch that video blow up. That video's going to be so big.
That would be really nice.
You should post your shit on Twitter. I feel like Twitter is like where you should live because that's such an easy way to like go viral. People retweet all kinds of shit like that.
Yeah.
Instagram, they share it, but it's shared privately. You know what I mean?
I haven't had a lot of luck with Twitter.
Really?
Phineas, though, you know Billie Eilish's brother.
Yeah.
Phineas, he reposted one of my videos.
That's dope.
On Twitter. I was like,
that's pretty tight.
He didn't retweet me though. He just posted it on his own.
It is what it is.
Yeah.
So I got to put the little Cash Money logo on the corner.
I put the watermark.
See, it's over with. It's
Shout
good.
out Corey, my roommate, for telling me to do that.
Yeah, that's smart.
I think that's
so I know we got to wrap up soon.
How long has it been?
Hour 40.
Dang.
Yeah, we're doing. This is a good one. It's a long one.
Sorry, guys.
It's all good. You got a story to tell. It's fucking fire, though. It's crazy.
Okay, awesome.
What a fucking wild ass ride.
I know.
It's
from
like
being a Broadway actress.
Yeah, from Broadway actress. All the way from Broadway.
All the way from Broadway.
All the way from Jersey Shore. Do you feel like the challenges, I mean, for you as an editor, like what do you struggle with the most as far as like pushing yourself in the boundaries of editing? Like, you don't want to get caught into like one specific niche, but at the same time your niche is making you a lot of money, and it's like, you know what I mean, like it's your bread and butter. So how do you find a balance? Like what's your plan for that shit?
I feel like my style, I'm very cautious of being like a very wide spread of different things. Like I have kind of shorter videos that loop, and then I have like much longer videos where it's like more like sound design, and now I'm starting to do more of just straight edits of like the interview stuff. And I try to keep it mixed so that it's never like, so that my audience, quote unquote, like stays used to, okay, if she posts another video, it's going to be something that it definitely wasn't last time. Like they don't like expect certain things, because I think that can get people in trouble sometimes.
No, that's a good idea. That's a great idea.
Yeah.
Thanks for bringing me to Jada's MTV Music Video Awards.
You're welcome. That was fun.
Yeah, no, I was glad she hit me up and she's like, "Can you come?" And I was like, "Yep." I don't know what it's for, whatever, but like I just wanted to meet you, because I'm like, it's so annoying to be, even Levi came yesterday, and like we have known each other for a minute but never met. It's like, dude, finally we fucking get to meet in real life. I'm like, yeah, there needs to be a whole little, we need to have like some secret lair type shit where all the creators are getting together that are murdering shit and just like share ideas and stuff. That'd
be dope.
I know. So we'll start that probably soon. So
I would love to start that.
I guess we could use this space for now and try to get at least like 8 people in here. Yes. All right. So I know you asked your audience to ask you a bunch of questions, and we have the Q&A experience afterwards. But I'm gonna just ask like 2 of these because this is long.
I know.
But I'm gonna see which one's fire. I highlighted a couple. What's more important? This is from 120 Ren's. I don't know. What's more important to succeed? Quality content and skills, or social abilities to find contracts?
Great question. And I thought about this one last night. So, okay, wait. So his question is content versus connections, basically, right? Yeah. So I think that it depends what you want to be. Because I think if your content is good enough, really, really good enough, you don't really need the connections. If your connections are really good enough, you don't really need the content. Most people are somewhere in between. Yeah. But I think it's like what you want to be known for, because there's plenty of people who are just influencers and like just post selfies, right? And that's totally fine. And then there are other people who don't try to do any, like, actually Joe Pease. Are you familiar with him?
Why do I know that name?
He's a sick visual effects guy.
Okay.
He is a great example of like, he really does. I mean, not that I don't see him putting in like effort to necessarily like do a bunch of hashtags and like do like, he's not trying to hustle, but like he's got a following because his stuff is just so good, right? And I think he's a great example of like that side of it. Whereas, you know, then there's influencers with millions of followers who are just posting selfies.
That's what I don't understand. It's like, why the fuck do these people get to be glorified and then you have 40,000 followers on Instagram? Yeah. Or whatever, however many you have, I don't know. Yeah. But that's fucking doesn't make sense to me.
It's crazy. Millions. Just to see a selfie of just them in the morning.
And when this shit gets shared on people that have millions of followers channels, their fans love this shit, but they're not like going out of their way to like seek cool stuff like this that's visually stimulating. They just want to see like the fucking beach photos or some dumb, you know what I mean? Like, I'm not even gonna get into that. This is another question. This Sandro, I don't know how to spell any of your followers' names or how to say it, but I don't know how to say anyone's names. So shout out to me. Sandro Gar-Sauls says, don't you hate spend so many hours a day in front of your computer?
I think that I have trained myself to become a computer addict in a pretty major way, actually. Ooh, this leads me to the last one of the points that I didn't make that I want to make.
Let's do it.
Is that I define myself as an alcoholic, and I go to AA, and I've gone to AA for 2.5 years. Yeah? Yeah, coming up on 3 in September. And yeah, drinking.
That means you're 2 years sober?
2.5 years sober. A little bit over 2 years, yeah.
Congrats.
Thank you. Yeah, drinking was like, I was partying a lot. I was drinking a lot, like always a blackout drunk. Yeah. All the time.
Straight rage.
And so there was no room for being a creator. Right. There just wasn't room. There was no room, especially to have equipment and a camera and like to be out at a festival. Are you kidding me? Like being drunk, wasted at a festival with thousands of dollars of equipment. It just wasn't going to happen. Right. And so I quit drinking. And what I kind of replaced that obsession with was video. Yeah. And was, you know, if I would go out to the club or to whatever, like when I really first stopped drinking, it was still in the party scene, like pretty heavy. I would just bring my iPhone. I had a really cool case that had different lenses on it, and it was like a waterproof case, so I could get really, really creative with it. And that was kind of my replacement. And so now it's been more time. I don't really party as much anymore, but that, I feel like my like addiction to alcohol kind of like manifested into like a computer, like an After Effects basically addiction, which it's harder to
get drunk off that.
Well, yes, but it's harder to like kick that habit, because with alcohol it's very easy to point to it and say that was not a fun thing, that was not a good, I didn't make good decisions.
Yeah.
But when you're working a lot, that's a good thing.
Yeah.
So it's hard, and that's why like I'm constantly blowing people off, and I'm constantly like holed up in my room because I want to work.
It's taken months to get this podcast interview, by the way.
Has.
She
And
literally said, my computer's broken, so let's go.
This is the time.
This is the time. Yeah.
And like these last few days have honestly been pretty great, because I'm like, wow, I can't work.
I feel like that's a super important thing to like, and we've discussed like depression, from creative depression, all this shit, it all adds up. And I feel like it's very important to exercise the idea of like separating yourself or creating a boundary from your work, because it's so easy to just like, that's it's a whole other topic, but it's like you can really get obsessed with shit, and it's just not bad to be working, but it's like, yo, it's also important to like stand up and walk around and breathe and fucking talk about shit that's not just this, or you know what I mean, like it helps.
I know it does, and like it's really hard to get that in my head because I just so love doing it, and like I feel guilty. It's not a good feeling, but like I do feel guilty when I'm not at my computer. If I can work, then I want to work. I feel
that. Fuck, that's weird. I feel the same way, like not being here or not being active with this shit. Like it's like, God, I could watch like TV right now.
Right.
Why?
Exactly. And it's like I feel guilty, but so I think that's kind of like, you know, I consider myself addicted, definitely, because like the minute my computer broke, it was almost like a weight lifted a little bit.
Yeah.
And I was like, I took my dog or my roommate's dog to the park this morning.
Damn.
I went to 2 AA meetings yesterday.
Damn.
I never do that. I
Really?
usually go to 1 a week, but I haven't been in months.
Right.
And I went to 2 yesterday because I didn't have a computer.
Jesus Christ.
It's like kind of messed up.
Yeah.
But
it's also good that you don't necessarily need to be there all the time anymore, because you find your replacement. And
I mean, I never needed to be there all the time. It's just like with AA, it's not drinking becomes a very small part of it, and it's really more about, it's kind of like group therapy.
Totally.
You just talk about like your issues and like how you're dealing with anger and shit like that.
Interesting.
Yeah.
Wow. Thanks for
cool.
sharing.
I recommend it, and if anybody wants to ask me about it, please do.
So do you get one of those chips?
Yes. Do you want to see it?
Yeah. Do you have it here?
Yes.
She's getting the chip, everyone. While we wrap this up, I'll ask you more of those questions. So we do a Patreon only Q&A experience with every single guest for all of our Patreon members that support there. This is it.
Oh, I have both.
There's 2. What do they stand for?
That's 1 year and that's 2 years.
Can I see?
Yes.
Can I just take a picture and have Justin post it on our thing?
Absolutely.
These are cool.
Absolutely. Yeah.
Damn, shout out to you. 2 years.
Shout out to my AA homies.
That's dope. All right, so I'm gonna ask you questions. It's for our Patreon people. It's separate. I'll ask more of the people that sent you questions and stuff like that too. But before we leave, I always do this thing. You already know about
hashtag.
The hashtags.
I know.
Did you have one planned?
Yes.
Okay, so here's the rules, so people listening know what to do, because you're the first person that's ever had something planned. That's pretty fucking amazing.
I'm a big fan. Wait, shout out Black with No Cream.
Thank you.
Shout out to everybody in this room.
Yep.
Y'all are amazing and doing the Lord's work.
Damn it. Only God knows.
It's true. I'm a big fan.
Okay, so if you're listening and you made it this far, an hour 46 into the podcast, this is a good chunk of time. Not our longest, but it's a good one. You have to go Cash Bunny's Instagram, whatever the most recent post she made, go there and you're going to tag me at Ben Roverse World, and then put this hashtag that she's about to say, so we both know that you made it this far into the podcast and you're a fucking real one for listening to this shit. And you're now going to say your prepared hashtag.
Is that cheesy?
Nope.
Doesn't matter. Hashtag cash rules everything around me.
Ooh!
Cream.
Damn, fully prepared. And it came far. Every single person, I just said this like yesterday or this morning, I was like, we need to make a montage of like everyone getting put on the spot. And they're like thinking. And they just sit there and it's like the worst. Cash rules everything around me.
CACHE.
Spell it CACHE. Dope. I fucking like that.
Thank you.
And our Instagram's cash_bunny.
Thank you.
Cool. Fuck. Well, this was an awesome ass interview. Thank you for sharing the fucking story.
Thank you for letting me. This is so cool that like people actually have an outlet. I've seen so many of these and I've learned so much like from other people's stories, but I've learned about other creators that I didn't know about. It's
crazy.
Like Roxana.
Yep, she's great.
She's my homie now.
Really?
Well, not in real life, on Instagram.
Yeah, but shout out. Internet's tight. Right, I know. That's fucking crazy. There's too many people. That's what I love about it. I'm like, I always feel underwhelmed because I'm like, or overwhelmed. I don't know what I'm trying to say, but there's just like every time we are doing interviews, I'm like, fuck, we should be doing like way more. But it's a lot of work.
No. It's a lot of work. I think you're doing a great amount.
Cool.
And I think you're doing so much more than other people. Like, whenever I see somebody start a podcast, I'm like, yeah, it's going to be done in like a month.
Yeah.
And you guys are not. This is happening.
It's a real wall.
I wish you guys could see. This is happening for sure.
If you're listening, switch over to the video just to see what we look like. She got her hair done for this shit. So
I did. I got a haircut.
looking
Thank
good.
you.
Nice. All right, cool. So we're going to end it with that, and we're going to switch over to the Patreon Q&A. And if you want to listen to that, it's on patreon.com/BlackWindowCream. And how do you want to end this? I don't know.
Oh, that I didn't come up with.
Got her.
Hey. Stumped.
I'm not going to talk.
Stumped.
How do you want to end it? That's all you're going to say is just stumped?
Yeah, straight stumped.
Oh, all right, cool. Stumped. All right, switch over to the Patreon thing. Thanks for listening. I have to go to the bathroom so bad.
Okay.
I didn't go before this. My fault. Give me a second. This was fucking great.
All right, everybody, that's it for the Cash Bunny interview. Thank you for listening to it. If you want to hear the Q&A experience, it is available on our Patreon. We talked to Cash for another 15 minutes, I think. What the fuck is the website? Patreon.com/BlackWindowCream. You can find it there. You get access to how to charge a client guide. All that other stuff is there. And definitely check out our merch. Okay, I think everyone's sleeping on it. This hat is fire. I wear this hat every single day. And I think we're going to roll out some new stuff soon. So get it while it's hot. Otherwise, we're going to run out and not bring a lot of those pieces back. So shop BWNC.com. New episodes every single Wednesday and Sunday. Thank you guys for being a fucking subscriber or a listener or whatever you consider yourself. And definitely join our community, which is BWNC.com/join. So you can be part of that shit and be fucking lit as fuck. All right, we out. Later.